fattest state in the union.
All right, we are live. Welcome, guys, to another podcast. Alex will be joining us very shortly. And today, what we're going to talk about is a couple things. But one of the things that we're talking about before we even went live is how obesity affects dating markets and how it changes like the dating dynamics. So I wanted to go to Michael first because he's been dating for 49 years right now.
49 years.
He was born in the 19th century, and he's got centuries to share with us.
Tell you something,
tell us about dating back in the day and how it's different with the obesity and all that.
Yeah, dating during Vietnam was easier because all the men were gone. So that's what made it a little simpler back in the day. No, man, real talk. Like, I don't know if anybody who's in the comments right now, if you guys remember what Hooters used to be like when it first opened. You know what you used to find at Hooters when it first opened? Like girls who looked like they could have been in Playboy. Like they were beautiful women. And then that's just gone, dude. And then if you guys remember, we used to go. Do you guys remember the last scene in Swingers? In Swingers, he comes, the Jon Favreau character, he walks into this bar and there's like this stunning girl who's a 10 who's just sitting there by herself. And he walks up, he starts talking to her. And this 10 is just by herself drinking at a bar, and he gets her number and everything works out. And of course, this is before social media, but it was still like absurd. And it's just one of these things where the two things kind of happen. One is the incredibly outrageously poor diets of American, maybe North American culture. I don't know if it's English speaking culture. I don't know. I know the second fattest country in the world is actually Mexico. So maybe it is just the United States. And then the other part was a lot of women being sucked out of the in real life dating market because of their ability to get validation through virtual means, whether it's dating apps, Patreon, whether it's social media, whether it was MySpace, then Facebook, then Instagram, whatever it is. It just seemed like those things really affected the dating market, because I remember going to Los Angeles probably 04 to 06. And I would go out to a club and there were more girls than guys. It was hard to get into the club. And when you went in, there was more girls than guys. And even there was like barely, because there's no bottle service in the US until like 04. I know they were doing bottle service in like in Ibiza and San Tropez before that. But the bottle service thing didn't really start in the US until Marquee Nightclub did it in 2004 in Manhattan, one of Jason Strauss's properties. And then after that, you just started to see like there was a difference between GA and like the table crowd. And you would go to a club in the GA part of the club, and there were more girls than guys because they were strict at the door. Also, I remember clubs were like hard to fucking get into back in the day. Like maybe in Miami, they still kind of are, but like here in Vegas, they really aren't. And it's just what's happened is these clubs are trying to optimize for money. And so they just let a bunch of dudes in. And I mean, maybe it's different in Eastern Europe or other places, but here in the United States, it's one of the problems that I'm seeing is that a lot of these nightclubs, I was with Dan B. We were standing on stage at Tao one time. He looks out on the crowd and he goes, dude, there's nothing but fucking dudes up here. Now we're on stage and there's nothing but girls with us, but we look on the dance floor and there's nothing but dudes out there. So it's something that I'm noticing is just like when I meet women, they're fat. And when I go out, I still meet women, but it's like because I'm on stage with the DJ, then I'll see women. But everywhere else I go, and it's just like I'll see these boot camps, these pickup boot camps that'll be running through XS, because X is probably the best nightclub in Vegas to do a boot camp, just because there's an inside and an outside, and there's a little bathroom area. It's like it's a little easier to move around than like say Hakkasan or Marquee. And when you're there, like one of the things I notice is in the GA, like other than the tables, there's just 2 or 3 times as many dudes as girls. So I don't know. There's just something I've noticed over the last, anybody here who's been dating for the last 20 years, you probably noticed the same thing. It's pretty definitively different. So that's why I try to make the bigger, better deal. The Maxim party is still crunk. Any kind of Playboy party is still awesome. The teatro parties, Babes in Toyland, things like that. You have to give a reason for women to show up and then just hardly invite any dudes. And then you get the ratio better.
Yeah. I want to rant about a couple things in this that have been on my mind. So when you travel through Europe, not every European country is like super, super fit, but on average, they're just less fat. And because their diet is just less shitty, and they also get a lot of exercise just walking around. One of the things you don't realize about the US is so much of it is just driving around. So you don't get as much cardio. You don't burn as much like calories just doing your daily routine as you would in Europe. Like you go to Barcelona, you'll walk 5-10 miles a day and like not even like recognize that you're doing it really. And yeah, so when you're in Europe, it's like, it's not necessarily that the women there are more attractive. Like the US has some of the most attractive women in the world. It's just that they're buried under like 20, 30, 40 pounds of fat. And I got stats here. So basically, the average woman in America between 18 and 35 is 170 pounds. And so that's 135 pound for Asian, 168 pound Hispanic, 171 pound white, and 189 pound for black.
189 pound for African American women in the United States. That's correct.
So
it's crazy.
It's like, it's just that they're there, but they're buried on that fat. And then the other thing you said is like a lot of the women that you'll meet, it's just like there are a lot of nutritionally undisciplined women. And it's just another thing to teach in a relationship. So if you find another girl, you're like, man, that girl would be so awesome, but I literally would have to train her. Like, here's how to go to the gym. Here's how to count your macros, or at least here's how to eat nutrient dense whole foods so you don't blow up naturally. And it's like, it just adds extra pressure for you to, like, if you're going to make a relationship work, you have to be somewhat attracted to the girl that you're with. She's got to be at least, 7.5, 8 on your scale. So it's like, if she's fat, you're just not going to be as attracted to her over the long run. You're not going to really put in the work for the relationship. So it stresses relationship dynamics in many ways. And I think one of the main reasons that it fucks up like dating as a market is just scarcity. You have 100 apples. Let's say 70 of the apples are rotten. That means that people don't want to eat the rotten apples. They want to eat the 30 good apples. So then, since men care about women's physiques, they're going to care about, like, there's going to be a disproportionate amount of attention placed on those fewer apples. And then when you add into the fact that men typically prefer younger women, between 18, 35, that's like the main range that guys go after. And then also add into that, like, most guys racially prefer white girls. And it's like, if you want just like a white girl that's not fat, who's pretty cute, like, the men from the ages of 18 to 75 are like competing for this very, very niche group of girls that now has become even more niche and smaller because of the obesity. And it's like, it's nuts, dude. And it really skews the dynamic, because then girls have infinitely more options than the guys do. And that creates bad behavior from them. It creates a dynamic where the guys have to like do fucking everything, and they have fewer. The margin of error is smaller and smaller as the dating pool gets smaller and smaller. So, yeah, I'll just stop ranting.
Yeah, no, man, you got to find some wings that take the fat girls for you. Okay, that's what's becoming harder and harder. There's less of these wings around. I've had some students that are into big girls. And sometimes I think, like, damn.
Send them to me. Man, send them to me, bro. Send them to me.
Why wasn't my brain built like this, okay? Why wasn't I walking around the club being like, no, Marcus, this girl's too skinny, okay?
Dude, I have the most fucked up example of that.
It's fucked up.
Dude, what is that right set? What's the name of that movie where the dude, Shallow Hal, have you guys seen that movie? Where he's like in love with a girl who's like super fat. And I'm like, bro, how lucky would that be if you could just like be super attracted to really mid women? Oh my God, bro. It'd be so fucking, it'd be so much easier.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, what's this Ozempic shit? Is all these girls going to get skinny now? What's going on?
It probably will. There's an airline actuaries are predicting that fuel costs are going to go down, like, because of Ozempic. Like, that's how seriously it's actually affecting things.
This is let's actually look at Ozempic in comparison to like peptides or TRT. The Rock and Michael Hearn still won't admit that they take steroids, but yet Elon Musk is fine admitting that he takes Ozempic. I think the Ozempic, I talked to a doctor about this a couple of days ago. He's a health clinic, and he goes, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like 10 to 1. People are way more comfortable with the idea of taking Ozempic. It doesn't seem to like hurt their status. And while like it would be way better if they just develop some level of discipline, one thing I'm kind of interested to see is what happens to big food and a lot of things in big pharma if people actually do get skinnier. Now, they won't necessarily be healthier because they'll still be eating like shit, but they will be skinnier in that the fact that they're not carrying this weight. So, knee and hip damage, lower back damage, problems with arthritis, problems with inflammation, and then problems with cardiovascular health. you're going to see an improvement there. And then what if it gets so bad? You guys saw what they did to Andrew Huberman. I'm sorry, that was such bullshit where they just say he's dating 6 women at the same time. No, Andrew Huberman.
I love how they were trying to say that as like a bad thing, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the problem is Andrew Huberman is like, hey, here's how you get more sleep. It gives you more energy. And I'm like, well, it apparently worked for you because you're fucking 6 girls at the same time. It must work. But the thing is with Andrew Huberman, clearly that was a hit piece, and I personally think it was a hit piece. If you go back, if you guys want to see something funny, look at all the people who criticized Andrew Huberman after that hit piece came out. Most people were like, stayed away from it. It's all these jiggly, jiggly-necked women. They didn't like that Andrew Huberman was saying, go outside, get sunlight, eat better, cold plunge. He didn't like that. A lot of people in pharma do not like it when you have this huge top 5 podcast in the world giving people advice on how to lose weight and be healthy. Then I want people to be sick because they make money. I don't need your Lexapro, bro. I don't need your Lexapro anymore. I don't need massive broad spectrum antibiotics for everything. Motherfuckers have a virus and they subscribe broad spectrum antibiotics for a virus because apparently they never read a biology textbook. Like overall, I don't need your ED medication anymore because I can see my penis again. I don't need your anxiety medication anymore. I don't need your cholesterol medication. Look at all these things that go away if I start taking. Now, I'm just predicting, guys. It's just an idea. Forgive me. I'm just having an idea here. What happens if enough people start taking this and enough people get skinny, right? Another thing, you're probably going to see fertility rates go up because men are going to want like the women that men will be attracted to. That ladder is going to drop. Like a greater proportion of women who get skinnier are going to be more attractive to more attractive men. You might see the fertility rate actually go up because of this. And I'm spitballing here. I'm not telling people to take Ozempic, but I am just kind of curious to see what happens if you just have a nation of people that actually get skinnier. What would happen to big pharma and big food would be fucked. Big food would be destroyed if people actually, decided to get in better shape. So I'm kind of curious.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen when they start making these changes. Like RFK seems like he's literally going after like I'm more predicting he would get assassinated than Trump because he's taking on billions and billions and billions of dollars of pharma, big food. But the other things is not just Ozempic, but if he says like, hey, listen, you can't sell sodas above this amount, you can't market this food to children, you can't do XYZ, then if you stop childhood obesity, then the adulthood obesity would rate would also go down. So Alex is gonna be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
If you got to read Estrogeneration, they go over these concepts of like the horrible things that we put in our food in the United States that they would never allow in Europe. You guys understand? Estrogens are a molecule. They're not a bacteria. They're not a virus. You can't boil estrogens out of your water. It's extremely hard to filter out estrogens. So when you have estrogens in your suntan lotion, your perfumes, your plastics, and then your food, like different types of food, what happens is those estrogens, or women will take a hormonal birth control, they'll pee out those estrogens. Those molecules stay intact. They get into the water supply. You filter out pathogens, but you don't filter out molecules. And then all of a sudden, now you see the feminization of men. By the way, that's not some code word. This is not an Alex Jones thing. The feminization of men is it is an absolutely documented thing that has happened over the last 50, 60 years. When you increase a man's estrogen level and decreases a testosterone level, that is called feminization. That's not a red pill word. That is the actual term for it. The feminization of men is happening because of these massive amounts of estrogens in our food. What happens when you have high levels of estrogen? Your body, you think about a woman about to go through pregnancy, her body stores more fat. And you see these men at the end of a bar, these old dudes, and they look like pregnant women with their man boobs. You see the old guy, he's like a trucker. He's just like got a big old gut. That's high levels of estrogen that's going on. And we're seeing this more and more. And it's part of the reason why we have this obesity. Also, lower levels of testosterone. Now, I don't want to go to the fucking gym anymore. I'm not excited to go to the gym anymore. Testosterone, one of the things it does is it makes effort feel good. If you have high testosterone, you go lift, you feel fucking incredible after you lift. So these are all things that are like, I think that are happening to people, and we just don't notice them because it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. But my other issue, Austin, you're making my point for me. RFK Jr. is on steroids, and I don't mind that he's on steroids, but he is on steroids. Like, have you seen the pictures of him shirtless? He 100% is on steroids. And we're going back to what I said before. People are way more willing to admit that they're on Ozempic than they are willing to admit that they're on TRT. And I just think it's a very interesting thing. But what it tells me is that people are willing, the mainstream, even like people like Oprah, who owned Weight Watchers, she's willing to admit that she's on Ozempic. What does that do? It just opens the floodgates for more and more people to start taking it.
Yeah, but I think there's legality around it as well. Like in a lot of places, taking tests is illegal. But I think even that's changing. I think more and more people are coming out and being like, "Yeah, take tests. It makes me feel better."
In the U.S., test isn't illegal. It's anabolic steroids that are illegal. Test is not illegal here. Yeah,
yeah, but a lot of people.
The good old testosterone conversation. I came in at the right time. That's my favorite topic.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like more and more people now, if they're just taking TRT, they're a lot more open with it than they were before. I think you're right. Like, it probably was more shamed. Like, hey, when you're a man and you need to take some TRT. Whereas now it is masculine. It's like, hey,
balls now work,
like
huh? You can't produce testosterone. You know where I produce my testosterone from my balls. What that means,
exactly right. Yeah. Whereas, yeah, I think it's changing. I think like, and you're right, Ozempic. I think the more and more available it becomes, the more people are going to be taking it, and then the hotter the girls are going to get. Right?
Yeah,
just go walk around in the club with Ozempic injections. So start handing them out.
Just as a side note, for anyone for like the one person who's thinking about Ozempic, for my 10% female audience, if you look at the long-term studies on it, it's not a good idea.
No, which long-term studies are you talking about?
Maybe medium-term studies, but there was a study that came out that showed that Ozempic works pretty well in the first year.
Oh, yeah. And then you have to like take less of. Yeah. I've seen that too. Yeah, but the stuff about the thyroid cancer and the fucking what was the other one? The gastroparesis. Those turned out to be not replicatable. Like they have not been replicated. But yeah, the one about the efficacy. So basically what he's saying is like almost like a blister pack, like where you have to take more every time. You have to continually ramp up your Ozempic use to get the same level of efficacy. And then it gets to a point where you just can't take anymore. And you're right. And then people will end up gaining the weight back after they get off the 12-week cycle or whatever. That is true.
Yeah. Wait, let me quickly. I think Austen is taking down my comment, but ever since Sophie Rain showed 40 million, yeah, I've heard about this. I don't think more girls or not significantly more girls are starting OnlyFans because of that. I think that probably the majority of people understand that that basically OnlyFans is like YouTube. There's a very small percentage of people on top who make most of the money, and then the vast majority of people at the bottom make dog shit. I think the statistic is the average girl on OnlyFans makes like $200 a month or $200 a year. I forget which one of those. But,
yeah, it's becoming harder and harder to make money on OnlyFans. I think during COVID, there was a huge spike there where there was less competition and there was more guys online. But at the moment, like I run a podcast with one of our friends who like runs OnlyFans. We interview a lot of OnlyFans girls. Like it's a difficult profession. Like I think a lot of people have that perception that like, oh, just show some titties online and make a bunch of money. And it's like you kind of need a following. You kind of need a good marketing plan. Like OnlyFans, there's no organic traffic there. Like you literally just some random boobies on a site, you need to bring traffic there. So,
Marcus, where can people sign up for your OnlyFans? What's the link?
If you go to one day,
I'll be there. It's called the Wolfman.
So you guys are all right, but there will be some women who will sign up because they saw that $40 million number because of the delusion. Like they actually think they're hotter than her. I see so many women who are obese that make a ton of money on OnlyFans. So I could see it working, but
really,
of course, what you guys are. Oh yeah. You guys have not seen the obese influence. Look, somebody Google it. All these obese influencers, these girls that are covered in tattoos and just with big old jiggly cellulite asses, making so much money on OFs, $200,000-300,000 a month. I see.
Are we talking about like obese, or we're talking about like just way too much fucking ass injections?
To me, that's obese. I mean, if it's all fat back there, I'm not talking about ass injections. I'm talking about the nasty BBLs. Like I've seen a bunch of
nuclear war isn't really such a bad thing after all.
Yeah, but no, I think you guys are actually factually correct, and women are delusional enough to where I do think a bunch of them are going to sign up for OF because of that. I think that's kind of the dream now, is to be an influencer. The dream is to be an influencer now, man. If you ask women now,
we should close the loop about the fat stuff before we move on to something else. But I'll say this: what are some takeaways we can give? Dating will probably get better, but fat loss takes a long time, and the food environment of the U.S. and Australia and UK and a lot of these places is just fucked. So I'd ideally tell you guys to move to a place that women are less fat. So like where I live in Florida, I see so many fit people. Colorado has tons of fit people. Like move somewhere, if you care about women not being fat, move somewhere where they're not fat. and then, you know, that increases your odds.
Yeah,
And the other thing for
really
you guys that are fat yourselves, I guess we could say this. Here's one of the biggest motivations. For every 40 pounds of fat loss, you get an inch of visible penis. And that's usable dick that you can put inside someone. So it's pretty good. And then there's a lot of ways to lose weight, but the biggest one
But also,
that I give people
shape.
super
Why is your
easy.
dick so small then?
I'm trying to do my best. 12, 3, 30. So basically 12% incline, 3 miles per hour, 30 minutes. Super simple workout if you're fat. And then the easiest way is either count your macros or just eat more nutrient dense foods, and then you don't have to count and you'll naturally lose fat. But
yeah,
I could rant on that for like an hour, but
I do agree with this, Mr. Young Dylan. I think that if people get discouraged is probably a better way of putting it, because they hear 40% obesity rate, but that really heavily varies on the area you're in. Like, yeah, in Alabama, okay, in some small like fucking punk downtown, yeah, you might hit like 50% obesity rates, but like in Miami, I would say it's probably like the girls that like just walking around the streets, less than 10%. So yeah, so
I think where you live in Miami, it is. I think if you took all of Dade County, it's not 10%.
No, maybe not. But those people typically don't leave the house because they're late. So they're fat. They're fat, Michael. So they just sit around and watch TV. So
are you fat shaming people? Are you fat shaming them, bro?
All day, every day.
But yeah, another pro like tip is live in a walkable area, because number one, you'll get fitter, and then also the girls that you're going to be around are going to be fitter too, because they're just walking all the time, burning those excess calories that'd be stored as fat.
Yeah, I've heard those running clubs are just like turn into orgies, bro. I've never done one, but I've heard there's these running clubs all over the country where people just go run together and then they end up dating the people they run with. It seems like that seems like a great place to meet someone, honestly.
Dude, I should just do a YouTube video on that. Where I join a running club and just fuck with
guys here. Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Nice.
Do you want to come on?
Nice.
Join us. You guys know Lloyd, right?
Yeah, I met Lloyd in Colombia.
Cool. Yeah, let me know, Lloyd. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, like I don't think people should have excuses about not being in good shape. Obviously, there's a genetic component to it. Like, for example, someone like me, I could eat like nonstop junk food and I'll never get fat just because I'm a hardcore ectomorph. Although that'll probably change when I get older in life. But like, yeah, like even though like a lot of the food at like a regular grocery store will probably be fucked. You can get organic food. And also a lot of this, like your weight loss thing, I think the misconception people have is they think it's like, oh, it's probably like 50% diet, 50%, gym. A lot of people always attack it from like the workout gym perspective, but really 90% of whether you're fat or not depends on your diet. That's by far the biggest factor. And you don't even have to work out. If you can just fix your diet and be in a calorie deficit while getting your macros, you will lose weight. You can obviously go into the gym is good because then you put on muscle. But yeah, so that's like a huge component of it. Intermittent fasting is a great idea, has a whole bunch of health benefits. I personally do intermittent fasting every single day, no exceptions. I will go about 16, 17 hours without eating. Yeah, I think it's good for you. It boosts up your metabolism. There's other things you can do. There's things that there's food that are more satiating than others. So there's some food where you eat like 500 calories of this and 500 calories of that, but with one food you feel a lot fuller. So just Google that. But really just have a diet. If you just cut out grains, you cut out sugars, cut out dairy, and you have a diet that's high in healthy fats, moderate in protein, and low in carbs, you will lose weight.
Yeah, the intermittent fasting part, there's a couple other things. Your body going into ketosis, you start burning those calories. So you're burning calories sooner in the day, and you just feel a lot sharper. I was really skeptical on intermittent fasting, and then I just read all the data, and I tried it for a while. Pushing all your calories into an 8 or 6 hour window, it just really, really helps a lot, man. It helps with a ton of stuff.
And even beyond losing fat, it's so easy to not think about food and just work for the first part of the day.
Yeah, agreed. And also if you take black coffee, which you can do with intermittent fasting, it hits harder on an empty stomach. Like it will wake you the fuck up on an empty stomach. I've done that as well. But yeah, man, it's really, really good stuff. The intermittent fasting stuff, it's really changed. You don't get the spikes in what's it called? In what am I thinking of?
Cortisol
the glucose spikes. Not glucose. What's it called? Diabetes is a lack of insulin spikes. You don't get the insulin spikes. Yeah, that's really, really great stuff, man.
Yeah, I would say also just for additional doing blood work, detailed panels, and not like it's not like going to the doctor, regular doctor, and be like, "Hey, I want blood work." They're not going to test you for the shit that matters. But going to a functional medicine doctor and getting like real labs, and it's a real lab because you have to pay at least some out of pocket for it. Okay, if it's going to be covered completely by your insurance, then it's not going to give you the data you need, generally speaking. Testing things like vitamin D, which most people are deficient in, which is really easy to fix. Testing your thyroid. I don't think that gets enough attention, but if your thyroid is too low, then you will just simply be more likely to be fat because you won't burn fat as fast. So testing your thyroid is important. A lot of people are thyroid deficient or they have too much thyroid. IGF-1, which is your growth hormone. I mean, yeah, just like going to what's it called? Like getting those labs done, doing a vitamin mineral panel is really good. Everyone, including myself, is going to be deficient in one or two, at least minimum, vitamins and minerals, and you can just supplement those, and that can take care of a lot of your issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, Alex, what other topics did you want to talk about today? We were just ranting about how obesity destroys like dating markets.
We can take a look at this. Alex, I've heard Sartain say he doesn't believe in text game, but your entire channel is literally based on text game. What do you have to say to that? Explain yourself, Michael.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is for you to have an incredible event, and then when you do so, your text game is very, very short. So for me, I never try to escalate over text. What I do is I seed whatever we're going to do beforehand, and then I have an amazing offer for them. And here's the difference. My text game, whatever it is, it's always over Instagram, number one. And number two, it always includes social proof. So it's going to be like photos, video, stuff like that. So it's always more evidence, fewer words. That's why I don't really do text game.
You're talking about text game. You're just texting style is quite different than the pickup, but that's still,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you have a strategy that you convey over text. Your strategy
but the point of text game is the time bridge. It's like we met, text game, let's meet up again, and then let's have sex. That's the point of it. For me, the time bridge I feel works better when your Instagram is set. Sorry, my girl here, she's a feisty. The time bridge
pussy on his fucking face.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The time bridge I think is more solid when it's you have either something awesome planned out in the future, or if it's a situation where she can go on your social media and she looks and says, "Hey, this is somebody I'd want to hang out with." So I do that, and then my messages are extremely short.
Yeah, but being short and succinct would be also part of my text game, right? So
sure,
it seems like you believe in text game. You just disagree with some of the pickup principles when they apply text game.
I also don't like using iChat. I also literally don't like using iChat. I want my face to pop up whenever I message her, and also the unsend feature on IG DM is supreme. It's incrable. The IG
they'll visit your profile when you message them on Instagram.
Not only will they do that, Austin, you can see when they look at your IG story, so you can see if they reacted to it. And also when you open a thread with a girl, like Austin just said, she immediately gets to see you in the explore page. She immediately gets your content as soon as she opens a thread with you. That's why I like IGDM so much better.
Wait, can you explain how you use the unsend feature? To your
so the unsend feature, so for instance, for our standpoint, a lot of times we're going to have different offers. They might be events, they might be let's go out to the club, they might be let's go axe throwing, whatever. If you have an offer and the girl and then you have a second one and a third one, and the girl maybe saw the first one, liked it, and then didn't respond to the second one or third one, I unsend the previous ones and there's this like mental thing. I've had women disagree with me on this, but it's absolutely true. There's this mental thing when she goes back and checks and just see that there was one message as opposed to a stack of messages. It's just way better. It just works out way better. And I'm not talking about like trying to game the girl. I'm talking about event after event after event. And so because of that, that's how I end up with 30, 40, 50 girls showing up to my events, because you guys have noticed that girls have different seasons. I have a boyfriend season, and then they're like, I'm back on the street season. And you don't know when you're hitting them up, if it's the right season or the wrong season. So I might hit a girl up, say, hey, we're going to the Max.
So I know right now, like phases in life, right?
Phases, exactly. So I know right now I'm the host of the Maxim party in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. So I'm going to be hosting the red carpet. So I'm going to send messages out to like 3,000 girls for that party. If I later on am hosting Swimsuit USA's preliminary in like say Miami, and they didn't respond to the Maxim one, I'm going to unsend the Maxim one. That's why I like unsend feature so much.
Okay, interesting. I guess on the surface I agree with that. Although my only thing that comes to my mind is like would it not seem like a tad needy when the girl sees you're unsending messages, right? Like
she doesn't. So we've explored this over and over again. I've had several girls I've experimented this with. They don't see it. They technically do get the notification, but because they get so many notifications, they never ever see that you unsent the message.
Oh yeah, if she doesn't see it, then I think there's no downside to doing that. I agree with the logic. Yeah, I mean, I would say like the amount of texting you need is directly correlated to your SMV and the value proposition. So if you don't have a dope Instagram like you do, you're probably going to require more text game. It also, like from cold approach, for example, well, yeah, but if you meet a girl from cold approach, you get her number, and let's say you make a really, really good impression, you probably don't even need much text game at that point. It's just a matter of just like a little bit of callback humor and setting the date. Versus, let's say you make like a meh, impression where the girl's like, she's still open to chatting with you, but she's not sold yet. That's where it would come in like pretty handy.
Yeah, I mean,
I wanted to answer this fatty's question.
Sorry, yeah, texting is a tool where you can game. So, I mean, if you've got value to offer, like you do a party or some shit, if you just have an event and you're messaging like 3,000 girls, you don't want to spend 10 minutes messaging 3,000. You just want to send off a message being like, hey, social proof, here's the party. But if you met one girl from the club, as Alex mentioned, and it goes really well, then yeah, you're just time bridging that. But if you got a girl that it's not going that well with, you can use text to build value, right? You can have this girl start to see some of your value. You can have her chase a little bit. You can create scarcity. You can have a girl come straight over to your place. Even if the beginning of the conversation, she didn't fucking know you. If you just match this girl on Tinder, it's a tool you can game through. So, I mean, if you have other value to offer and you just want to use it as a time bridge, that's fine. But otherwise, if it's one girl and you're like, damn, this girl's hot, I want to fuck her, then yeah, you can use texting as a tool to do it.
Dude, I'm curious of your two takes on this. I feel like it's impossible to have insanely good text game unless you understand women and you understand female psychology at a pretty high level. Like, because even if you have certain lines and you have certain things to say, and you know, unless it's contextual to her and it's contextual to the interaction you've already had, then it doesn't really matter. Like, insane and high level text game is like, you need to understand what women want, what they desire, what is value, what is perceived as high status, low status, etc.
Yeah, I mean,
it takes time to develop that. And I also think that in person, if you meet someone in person and you talk to them in person, you need that skill set to become really good at text game as well. You can't just be like someone who only does online and then uses that to meet girls and go on dates with them. I feel like it helps so much to talk to people just in real life and to develop the skill set of text game.
I feel like this is kind of true in the same way that I would say, like, hey, you can know the perfect lines in person, but you can still be horrible at game, right? If you don't display them well, if you don't calibrate, right? With texting, you can get away with it a little bit more. So I've had students that just like copy paste our shit, and it's not great, but they still get results from it. It's not what we encourage, but you can get away with it a little bit more because there's less.
But that's just proficient text game. What I'm talking about is like texting girls, so they're like, I need to come over, or like, I need to see you, or like they throw out something that's like kind of, like if a girl texts you something bratty and then you send her something back like disciplinary, but it's like textual and it's kind of fun and it's kind of like flirty and it's like perfectly seamless. That stuff is not something that you can learn just through. Like, I have stuff in my course about texting too, but that skill set, I literally tell people, I'm like, they're like, how do you text like this? I'm like, it's literally years and years and years of talking to girls and texting them and meeting with them and like fucking them. Like, you need to understand the psychosexual dynamics at play to be elite level in text game. That was my point.
To be elite, yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's levels, right? Like, there's a level where you just copy some text, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. There's a level where you have more of an understanding, but you're still going to fuck up. Like, to get to elite level, like same with game, you need years of experience to get up to that level, 100%.
Can I ask you?
I don't think that's like necessary. I think like to get good at Tinder, to get a like bunch of girls from there, I'm sure Alex will agree with this. Is like, you don't need years and years. But you can be half decent with some practice and experience and some
people have different learning curves, but I generally agree with what you said, Austin, but I have seen some interesting exceptions to that. Like one of my roommates, actually, not David, the other one, he's at like what 40, 50 lay count, and they're all online. Like, he's never cold approached a girl in his life. I met a dude once in Arizona. He was from the pickup community, whose lay count was like 300, and then we went to the mall and he couldn't approach a single girl. Like, he like physically couldn't. So I have seen exceptions comes to that, you don't want to be that. Even if you're like primarily focused online, like you still want to be able to talk to girls in real life. But yeah, I've seen some exceptions, but I think generally you're correct.
I just want to answer this guy's question real quick. Basically, just go. He's saying how to gain bulk and cut without getting permanently fat. You basically just don't want to do what most people do and like have like 100% caloric surplus. Just do 10% caloric surplus. And Jeff Nippard just released a video on this yesterday. It's called "How I Gained a Lot of Muscle This Year," and he basically details how being in a bulk, you'll gain more muscle than just main gaining or like staying the same weight, but just change your body composition. And then after you do the bulk, you just cut. So,
okay. So I can answer this partially too. The thing is, the calories are not all equal. This is where macros come in. This is something a lot of people weren't educated about 10, 20 years ago. The more protein. So if you're going to do, let's just say you have a 2,500 calorie diet, if you can make a higher percentage of those calories, that macro for protein to be higher, then what you can do is build muscle and you won't put on as much fat. That's the trick. It's not that you are in a calorie excess. It's how the calorie excess works, because protein synthesis requires protein, and protein synthesis is how you build muscle. So the answer is a better, more protein laden diet is what you need in order to be able to put on muscle without putting on a ton of fat.
Yeah, 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good one to shoot for.
Yeah, but I think once
you track it for at least a week just to see how hard it is to get protein. Most people think they're eating enough protein.
Super hard.
Track it for a week. Track it for a week in one of those free tracker apps. Chronometer,
stuff in almonds. Dude,
that's true. Hard, bro. Especially if you weigh more. Any other comments on that phases of life statement? I feel like you can curate whatever dynamic you want if you convey the right value for any girl. Yeah, probably. It's probably true, but it is true that girls have you could take a girl who's like 25 and she might be a lot easier to have a one night stand with than a year later. And then, it doesn't always coincide with age. Like sometimes girls are much more conservative and they get older and they're like, oh, wait, I only live once. So it can go in either direction. But yeah, girls definitely do go through phases of life, and that can definitely change how much effort it will take. I mean, sometimes if a girl's like through her, let's say a girl just got like burned really badly. She like thought this one guy she had a one night stand with was going to be the man for her, and he totally led her on. He lied to her, and you approach her like the next day, like that it could not work out. Whereas it would have worked out if you approached her 2 days ago. There's definitely a luck element when it comes to this. So right place, right time is a real thing when it comes to pickup.
And I think it depends on the approach. Like if you're on Tinder and you're swiping and the girl's in her stage of life where she's like, I don't want to meet anyone, you're not going to meet her on Tinder. If you're doing social circle and you're inviting girls to party and she's like, I'm out of my partying phase, she's probably not going to come along. But if you meet her out in the coffee store or something and then she's like, look, I'm not in my meeting people stage, it's a lot easier to get over that. And that way you can kind of display value there. The other way is you're going to have to wait till she's ready to jump on Tinder, or you're going to have to wait till she's ready to go out to the parties. But yeah, if you're thinking like day game, for example, then yeah, 100%. If you display the right value, a lot of these girls will change their mind.
Yeah, I would say in terms of this question, so in my product, I talk about there's 3 different types of girls. There's the hot leads, right? The girls who are like very receptive. There's you can call them the neutral leads, or no, let's call them the warm leads, which are girls that are somewhat receptive, but also they're not super receptive. And then let's talk about we have cold leads, girls who are giving you one-word answers. The overwhelming majority of your results will come from hot leads, with hot leads and warm leads. That will be like 95% of your results. You can occasionally take a cold lead and turn it around. It just takes a lot of work, and I don't actually think it's worth it unless you're getting like no matches. Let me give the exception that you're going to give, which is unless you have a dope social media, then in that case you can turn a girl around.
That's what I was going to say. If you can put her in the circle, like whether or not it's like Babes in Toyland or like some awesome event that you can go to it's not super expensive, but you have a bunch of social proof there, then you can often, like my program is for women who don't like you. Like that's what I teach. I don't teach. My specialty is women who meet me and are not attracted to me at all, and then I make them attracted. And I use social.
Yeah, but you're not taking girls off Tinder that are like just giving you one-word answers and primarily fucking those. Like I know that's
not primarily, but I definitely have.
Yeah, I mean, there's still
the girl I'm seeing right now. She's from Ireland.
There's still a filter that's happening. It's just a different filter, right? Like
Michael's dating girls that don't like him, but I'm dating girls that hate me. I want women who despise me.
You're right, bro. You're right.
Start a change.org petition against me.
Yeah, Austin likes the girls that just shit on his face. You know, that's what he's into.
That's what I'm into.
I don't shame.
I thought that meant she likes you when she does that.
Oh, so this guy's just asking good cities for fit women in the U.S. The fittest
Scottsdale,
city in
Arizona.
America is Denver as a major city, but Boulder, Colorado is like the fittest like city in the U.S. So if that's your biggest thing and you want girls that hike, care about their fitness, get active, that's a good place.
This isn't in the U.S., but consistently the Vancouver, Kelowna, that area, those are some of the hottest women I've ever seen, like some of the fittest women I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Kelowna for sure. I have a student who lives in Kelowna.
LA, San Diego.
I don't agree with LA. I don't agree with LA.
Wait,
I think
LA has some really fit girls. What do you mean?
Yeah, they have some, but I think overall, like we're talking about like underrated. I think there's nothing about LA that's underrated.
It's not underrated, but the majority of girls in LA will be fit. Like it's not even close to like Boston.
Alex, I'll take you out in LA sometime. We'll go to a night.
I lived in LA for 6 years.
You will see some big old fat. You have been back in the day. You saw that. We go out to a club. We'll go to Delia, and you will see so many fat women. It's ridiculous. I don't agree about LA.
My friend just came. I picked my friend up from the airport today from LA, and he is like, "Yeah, it's very unhealtly there now."
There's no.
I'll give a caveat. It depends on what part of LA you're in. If you're in like Santa Monica, like
yes. Proper LA proper is Baltimore. When you think of Los Angeles, think Baltimore. That's what it's like. Downtown Detroit. That's what LA has turned into. It's piss and urine and traffic and drugs. It's like horror. I cannot express to you how bad Los Angeles is now. But you're right, dude. Palisades.
I'll have to go back and check it out. That was
the South Bay. Orange County, those places are great. Malibu, great. LA proper, all the way down to like Koreatown, absolute garbage. The women there.
Bro, you guys are walking into McDonald's and asking where the skinnier girls are. Just go to Europe, okay?
Yeah. No, agreed. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
David Bond says it's like you dive in the dumpster and you're trying to look for food and you're like, where's the food in this dumpster? And it's like, well, there's a restaurant here. Do you want to like eat food?
Yeah, fat girls is mainly an American phenomenon. It doesn't really exist in Eastern
Europe. But just my opinion here, Scottsdale. I would say that's probably the most underrated. Scottsdale. Like if you are into skinny white women with blonde hair, I would put Scottsdale probably above every other city in the United States.
A lot of milk.
I would actually say that probably Boston has some pretty fit girls for a city that's cold.
Really?
At least
for a city that's cold, yeah.
When I went to college, and pretty much any city in Florida, I think would be girls.
I didn't see any obese people in Manhattan. I didn't see any obese people when I was walking around Manhattan. I didn't see any. Maybe they're there, but I saw all the people.
Yeah, they kind of chase them out of Manhattan proper nowadays.
Yeah.
They use a hose.
That's the walking phenomenon. They have to walk all the time. They're burning so many calories.
Yeah, walking is. You want to talk about underrated? Walking is probably the most. Walking in sunlight is the most underrated thing any of us can tell you to do. Walking in sunlight to keep your body from producing melatonin to producing serotonin. It's so underrated, man. It really is. That's the reason why when you do 75 hard, Andy Frisella 75 hard, he says you have to do 1 45-minute workout outside. That's the reason why. It's such an underrated piece of like weight loss.
Also, the sunlight is actually the biggest red light therapy you can get. Funny enough. People talk about red light and go and get in the red light. It's like you can get the best red light possible from the sun.
It's so weird how in the northern part of our country, people are even more fat, but in Canada, they're not. It really is strange. Like those Canadian women don't seem to have this like horrible obesity problem.
But the Midwest in the US is so cold compared to Vancouver.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but Toronto is not super fat. I don't remember Toronto being super fat, but it makes sense. Like if you're fat, if it's cold, you're not going to really want to go outside and get exercise, do sports. You're just going to want to stay inside and like eat fucking McDonald's and get pegged or whatever.
I would just want to go snowboarding and shit, but yeah, everyone's different.
Oh, one last caveat: as a man, you can put on more muscle, which allows you to be able to lose that weight easier because you think about your metabolic rate can increase the more muscle you put on. Women in general don't have the same ability that you do as a man. So a woman can put on a bunch of weight and she doesn't have the muscle mass to be able to burn it off quite the same way that you do as a man. It's an advantage that you have. And also the older you get, if you suffer from any kind of joint damage, it just becomes harder and harder for you to get the weight off.
Michael, what would you estimate the percentage of fat loss is from just adding more muscle or just from what muscle burns at rest or whatever?
It's the diet. It depends. Your question is correct, Austin, but like the problem is the diet. If the diet is I'm eating protein with triple cheeseburgers, then you're getting enough protein to put on muscle, but you're also putting on a bunch of fat and the wrong kind of cholesterol. If it's like, hey, I'm strictly eating lean meat and like broccoli, and you're putting on muscle, I think you could lose a ton. It's the same thing as anything else. It's like if I keep burning calories and I'm putting on muscle at the same time, that's the hardest thing to do. And especially as you get older, which is why, RFK is on steroids.
Yeah, there was some lady I was listening to this podcast. She was basically saying how being under muscled when you're older is worse than being over fat, which is kind of interesting to me.
What cities should a young guy making decent money move to from your guys' experience in terms of hot girls and life quality? I would say somewhere in Florida is my perspective, but I haven't lived there anywhere. I would say Miami, Tampa are all cool. Austin was good when I was there, but it's been a while. It seems like LA has totally changed. I don't know. I haven't been there since 2018. I am curious to go back and see if it's as bad as people say.
I feel like there's tons of great places to move. It's just like, it's more about how you build your social life there. And do you have a good network of friends? Do you have girls that you're seeing? Do you have like activities that you like doing? Like I like the quote, the grass is greenest where you water it. There's no real best city on earth. There's no like, what do they call it? What was that thing they were looking for? Like the city of gold. El Dorado doesn't exist. It's like, just find some place that you like, that makes sense to you. Like Alex, I like Florida. It's like warm, best weather out of the year for like 6 months out of the year is in Florida in the winter here. Hot girls.
I think it's the best weather year round, in my opinion. I like the summer.
Yeah, and the summer here doesn't get overly hot. It only gets like 90 degrees, 95, something like that. And cheap flights to Europe and South America. You have cruise ships that you can take. You have like really good food. There's Michelin star restaurants in all the major cities here. Good clubs. Like girls are pretty fit compared to the rest of the U.S. Also, it's one of the only states with like no state income tax. We have the most based governor in all of the U.S.
Wyoming, Texas,
Kansas.
Nevada,
Kansas, Texas, Nevada, Florida. There's like 7 states that have no state income tax. Yeah. The question is, what was the question before about cities to move to?
Generally, I feel like we've covered that pretty adequately, though.
I'm gonna say I know we bash this to death, but in Nevada we have no humidity, no state income tax. We have no traffic. The women who live here are all fit. The gyms are full of super, super attractive women, and every single attractive woman you've ever seen online comes and visits the city at least twice a year.
But it gets cold in the wintertime. That's the downside.
I mean, it's cold, like it's 42 degrees at night. That's how cold it gets. I mean, if you're from Florida, I definitely get this, but it's not like Minnesota cold. All the girls from LA come visit. All the girls from Miami come visit. We have F1 here now. EDC is like the biggest, I think it's the biggest EDM festival in the world. So every girl you've ever wanted to meet will come here at least twice a year.
But where are your trees, though?
Huh? We got some trees.
Where are the trees? Where's the greenery?
That's plenty green when you go in that casino. It's green. You see green in there.
A lot of you meet are like only staying for a few days. That's
I feel like Vegas is so polarized. It's like there's like you could be this like nice warm bubble where every girl's hot and it's like fun and the food's amazing, and then you take like 2 blocks to the west and it's just like people are living in the sewers, and then there's like old people that are like pressing buttons at casinos like and they're smoking and you're like what are you doing? It's like heaven to hell in like 2 blocks. It's weird.
Yeah, that is true. Anyway, I'm not going to beat this topic to death. Please talk about volume. How long will it take for cold approach to be more natural to me? Again, everyone has different learning curves. For some people, it'll take like a month. For some people, it'll take a year. It just really, really depends on the volume you're doing, whether you have a mentor, what your starting point is. I mean, there's so many factors. I don't know. Like, Marcus, what do you think?
Oh, was that, sorry?
He's saying, please talk about volume. How long will it take for cold approach to be more natural to me?
Dude, it's the first approach should make it more natural to you. It's just going to be a learning curve. That's all it is. Like when guys ask this question, it's like usually they're looking for like, when do I have this fixed? Like, how long is it going to take before I have this sort? Like, instead of just worrying about that, just think, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better than I was last week? If you go out there and you actually just put the volume in, you have a direction, you have someone coaching you how to get there, you have a good reflection process afterwards, then yeah, after some time, it's going to start feeling really natural. And then if you implement this, not just in game, okay? If you go out, and this drives me crazy, okay? If you go out and then you try to act charismatic and you have like a good volume and you hold eye contact and you do that like one night a week when you're gaming, and then you get to work and someone's like, how was your weekend? And you're like, yeah, good. Yeah, how was yours? Yeah, it's never going to feel natural. You need to implement these skills into your entire life. So it's like whenever you're talking to friends, colleagues, whatever it is, be charismatic then. And yeah, in no time, like honestly, in a few weeks, the tonality should start being natural. Speaking louder should start being natural. And then give it a couple of months and you're going to feel really natural in the club. So yeah, just keep taking it step by step.
Yeah, I wanted to rant on this before we move on. This quote perfectly encapsulates what I was kind of getting pissed at the last week, which is good diagnosis precedes good treatment. Like, to give this guy an accurate answer, we would need to know all things about him. What does he look like? What does he sound like? How many girls does he approach? What's his dating history like? And then we'd also need to know what does natural mean to him, because for some people that just means, can I go out and approach twice a week, for like 2 hours? Or does it mean I want to be like doing my daily routine, out and about, going shopping, and then I switch out of that mode and immediately talk to a girl next to me? That's kind of like two different levels. And yeah, for most people, it's going to take somewhere between like a few months to a few years. But I mean, all of us have had students where it's like their whole life is put together and they're pretty social, cool guys. And all they need to know is like the structure of like, what do I do next? And how does that work? And how do I bring this girl home? And for those guys, it could be one day. You just give them like a flow chart and then you lead them through the steps and tell them what to do and they get it. But yeah, it depends on you.
From 2008 to 2010, I was an approach coach for Mystery and the Venusian Arts. And so they would fly me out to different places and I would just approach for like hours. And I went and deployed to the Middle East in 2009 and came back. And I remember after not talking to a woman for like 6 months, it was just so rusty. So this is a skill set you can get and that you can lose after a while if you don't practice it for a while. Here,
why do you practice it in the Middle East? There's some,
because there's no fucking women out there where I was stationed. There was no women. I was on base the whole time. I was living in Abu Dhabi, but I couldn't. We could only leave the base like a couple times a month.
No, I know. I'm just trolling.
Yeah, and then so now I do 8 cold approach boot camps per year here in Vegas, and then I'm doing one with Owen Cook for New Year's this year. And one of the things that happens is what I notice with for me, it's not really a big deal because I'm in Vegas. This is like my home. When I'm out here at a nightclub here, I have no approach anxiety at all, just because I basically live on stage at fucking excess. But for these other guys, I see Orion Terabin had one of the best statements I've ever heard. He said, after 100 incidents, it's just data points. These are just data points. Like, for someone to reject you who doesn't know you, that's not personal. It's not permanent. And it might be painful, but it's just for a little while. It's just the rejection is once you come to the realization this person doesn't know you, even if you don't get the response they want, it's not that big of a deal. But most of the time, man, if you're just open and friendly and in the present moment, I just rarely see guys get rejected. The main thing that I see is they're not loud enough. They let the club get too louder than they do. They're not loud enough and they don't talk. If you pick a deeper register, you can cut through the noise easier because there's less attenuation when there's a longer wavelength in your voice. So I think that's probably the best thing that I've seen.
I just think this is a tedious topic. I feel like this is a debate that's been done a million times.
Yeah.
There's some really good debates you can watch if this is a topic that matters to you. But again, my position has always been they're synergistic. There's no need to pick one or the other. They're both good. I think that they both work together pretty well. So yeah, I don't see the need to pick one. Yeah.
I have a simple answer to this. There's social media, social circle, and cold approach. It's cold approach to build a social circle, and it's social media to build a social circle. That's the way I teach it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Yeah, I understand that's how you do it. I mean, it can be just cold approach for the sake of like banging girls. But then you can also another way of combining it, I guess, is that like you hook up with a girl that you meet from cold approach, and then you meet her friends, right? Or you go to a party that she's going to, and you meet her friends, and then maybe you hook up with one of her friends, or maybe you don't. Or that's another. There's many ways of doing it. Like the majority, I'm trying to think. Like the few times I haven't done nearly as much social circle game as probably you guys, but the few times that I guess I did it was a girl I fucked who introduced me to another friend she had. I know that's happened quite a few times. So yeah, there's multiple ways to skin this cat, but yeah, I think
I call that like stealing a social circle, right? So if you just find someone that's doing the whole social circle thing and win them over and just get invited to their parties and shit, you just stolen a social circle. If you meet a girl and you fuck her and you fuck her well and it's casual and you've done anything great there, then yeah, I mean, fuck it. Like this girl, you can just be like, hey, invite me to your parties, introduce me to your friends, and you just stolen a social circle there. So it avoids, I mean, you can do it yourself as well as building it as well. But if you can avoid all that and just do someone else's, it's a bit of a shortcut as well.
I will add this. This is actually more of a question for you guys. This is something me and my girlfriend actually like debate from time to time. So the concept of a guy being friends with a girl, right? I believe that you can be friends with a girl if you're not sexually interested in her. And I think you can be friends with a girl if you guys used to have sex and then you decided that you don't want to keep having sex. Yeah. I think you can be friends with a girl if you have like a strong common interest, like for example, like me and a female YouTuber. I don't know. I mean, theoretically, I'm sure it's possible, but can you like the majority of the time, can you be friends with a girl that you're sexually attracted to?
I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask because I have tons of female friends that are attractive. The thing is, if you're having a lot of sex with other women, I think it's easy to be friends with girls.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's the main difference. I used to manage a strip club. And when I was managing a strip club, there would be 40, 50 girls that I was attracted to, but I had my girlfriend and then I would sleep with other women. And it was super easy for me to be friends with girls. As soon as I was like, this girl's super cool. We have a lot in common. She's a Cowboys fan like me, but she's married. Okay, I'm not going to fuck that up. So we just became friends. So I think that's if you have a level of abundance, this is really easy to do. But for a lot of guys, it's not easy to do. But yeah, it's the sex. To me, it's the sex thing. If you are having a lot of sex with women, I think it's very easy to be friends with females.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think listen, if you're a guy out there and you're sexually attracted to a girl, this should be binary. It's either we're fucking or we're not friends anymore, right? Like, because otherwise guys get caught in this, we'll all be friends and maybe one day, and like they just fall back on this friend zone shit. So they'll meet a girl, you should be making a move, you should be moving it forward, you should be taking a little bit of risk. But otherwise they're like, oh, but maybe I'll just like friend zone myself as a strategy. This is my strategy. It's just a huge cope. Like, now, yes, can you be friends with girls you're attracted? Of course. Like, I've been to a bunch of sex parties, my friends, and then we end up fucking there. And like, but usually the friends that I'm attracted to, we fuck every now and again, right? If you're just purely friends, then yeah, my guess is here that you're just like coping a little bit and you're just, friend zoning yourself and telling yourself it's okay. So yeah, you should either not be friends or be fucking.
I didn't know
it's kind of a sad. It's like a very low paradigm to be like, I'm gonna befriend this girl so that I can fuck her, and then my opportunity will arise some point in the next several years.
Yeah.
It's like such a low paradigm to think of. It's like, and then when you know what it is? It's like when you have a homeless guy and you're like, he's like, give me $1 or something, and you're like, it'd be like if you're like, do you want me to teach you how to make like $10,000 a month? And they're like, just give me the $1, It's like the person on that level, they're just thinking, let me befriend this girl so that I can someday get into her pants in years, versus like, I'm going to teach you a strategy where you can basically approach unlimited women for the rest of your life and then work on this skill set so that you can basically be attractive to almost every woman that you speak to. And you can have an abundant dating life and have tons of options, and you choose who you want to go deeper with. It's like that concept is so foreign to people. And I think just that the paradigm for going from that lower paradigm to a higher paradigm is like fucks with people so much, and they have to come up with stories to tell themselves that can't be them. And I'm sure you see it on sales calls and all this stuff all the time. Like people that are like, you just have to battle this like 99% retardation thinking that has been thrown into them from all angles their whole life.
Oh, I need to add a caveat because this is the most misunderstood part of this type of social circle game. I never, ever, ever let girls friend zone me. I friend zone them. There's a big difference. If you friend zone a large group of women, you take them out, they start to get confused why every dude this is more effective the more attractive the woman is. The more she's used to being hit on by every single guy and you don't hit on her, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, here's the girl I'm dating, and you introduce her to a girl who's stunning, that's when you have a threesome with 2 10s. That's where that happens. You're not hitting on them. They're confused why you're not hitting on them, and you're constantly showing tons and tons and tons of value. You friend zone the girl. Never let them friend zone you. There's a massive...
Michael, do you do this too? Sometimes I'll take this girl and I'll just basically try to introduce her to my friends and like try to push the girl away to like other guys.
Bro,
and then
so
eventually they just say like,
for you.
I don't want these guys. I want you.
I got one better for you, Austin. Girls will come here to Vegas. There'll be big groups of girls, super hot. I'll take them to a nightclub and I'll take them to another. I'll talk to the host and be like, yeah, man, I got like 6 girls with me. He'll be like, can I take them to this guy's table, like a big spender? I'll take them to the big spender's table. Guys spend like 50 grand. And of course, they're big fucking losers. I'll take off and leave and I'll get a message from the girl. Come save us. Where are you? Come save. And then immediately they just want to come home with you. Because
yeah, but I think it's
one last thing. When women are surrounded by beta, they crave alpha. That's the other thing I found. Like the pushing them away, I think is absolutely fantastic. Yes.
I think there's a difference between like disqualifying a little bit, making a chase, and like friend zoning. Because I feel like when a lot of guys hear friend zoning, they take it way too far. It's like they act like a friend. So they're not sexual around the girl. They won't talk about other girls they're sleeping with. They hide pre-selection. It's like, who's calling? Oh, it's just one of my friends. It's definitely like, they completely like friend zone, right? It's totally
Marcus,
friends. What you're describing is, yeah, like you're still a very sexual guy. You're just not jumping down this girl's throat and you're pushing her away a little bit. Yeah, I think that's of course. Like if you're at a even when you're gaming cold approach, like I encourage guys to open indirect. I wouldn't describe it as like open friend zoning, but it's like
I think what Michael's saying is a bit different though. I think what he's saying is that with some girls, he deliberately chooses the strategy of friend zoning them because either she doesn't have the time or the interest to fuck them, or he's trying to think 2 moves ahead. I think that's what he's getting at.
Well, this is my question for you, Michael. When you decide, okay, I'm friend zoning this girl, are you thinking, okay, and probably in like a month's time, I'm going to be having sex with her? Or are you thinking, I'm friend zoning this girl because I think I'll be able to fuck her friends and it's easier this way?
The second one for sure, all the time. The first one, it's not really conscious. So there's been several times where I just friend zone a girl. She's in a relationship. And again, she gets out of that phase where she's out of the relationship. And now she wants to go party. And I'm the first guy she calls because I'm going to take her on stage with Tiesto and Deadmau5. So there's that part. But the other thing you just said was really, really important about the friend. Oh gosh, you just said it about a second ago and I was going to comment on it. I remember now. What do we talk? We're men, and as friends, we talk about sex. We're men as friends. We talk about other girls that we've been with. So Marcus is making a great point. What guys will do is that they'll not only friend zone themselves, they'll sterilize themselves, both figuratively and literally sterilize themselves. So how do I sterilize myself? I have no pre-selection. I'm not one of those fuck boy players. I have no pre-selection. I don't fuck other girls. I wouldn't do that. So as men, we talk about it. It's like, hey man, yeah, I went out with this girl. She's super hot. Look at, oh my God, that girl's hot. We talk as men, we talk with other men about women that we see. When you do that with women, for me, I'm just like, I played American football when I was in high school. In the locker room, there was locker room talk. And what I found is that when I have locker room talk with women, they fucking love it. They love locker room talk. So I just bring them into the locker room talk. But even though I'm sexual, I'm not sexual about them. I'm just sexual in general. Does that make sense? And then the main thing for me, I'm tell you, this trumps everything else. Girls see my last like 4 girlfriends and they're like, oh my God, she's hot. Oh my God, she's hot. Oh my God. And that's it. Like afterwards, the whole thing changes where it's like, you're worthy of a woman who looks like that. Therefore, my perception about you has changed as well. And then
I think the litmus test is, this is an important litmus test that I just thought of, is whether you're treating the girl that you friend zone different than you treat like a girl you fucked or your friends. If you're,
I don't. In fact, I don't treat them any different than I would treat you guys. If you guys see, like for my birthday, I think my last birthday party, I'd slept with like 10 of the girls that came to my birthday party, and I didn't treat any of it. You would not have been able to tell which girls I slept with. You wouldn't have no idea.
So that's the point I'm making, is that like if you're treating them differently and you're like, oh, I gotta play it cool, I play it safe, then you're probably going down the wrong path.
I probably do treat them a little bit differently, but I guess there's a small caveat here. Like I would, this is the way I do it, is I either like fuck zone them or friend zone them, right? So if I'm fuck zoning them, it's like, hey, you're just a girl that I'm probably gonna have casual sex with, we can have threesomes with, we can do our thing. And then the friend zone girls are the ones that I'm like not attracted to, that maybe they're taken. There's a reason I don't want to have sex with them. Like maybe my friend is seeing them or something, and I will treat them a little bit differently. Like if we're at a party and it's a fuck zone friend and she wants to come sit on my lap and shit, yeah, come sit on my lap. That's fine, right? But if this is like a friend zone chick and she comes to sit on my lap and it's like my mate singer, I'm probably going to be like, hey, get the fuck off. What are you doing? So I guess it's like similar in that sense, but there probably will be more of a sexual vibe that people pick up on from like my fuck zone like friends as opposed to like friend zone friends. But it sounds probably similar.
The key difference is if Austen Summers wanted to sit on Michael's lap, it would be kosher. There would be no issues.
Oh yeah, I'll let Austen sit on my lap for sure. Yeah, especially those sunnies.
Right. Dude, they would, yeah, for sure. Build some comfort. All right, the one last thing I want to say is, oh fuck, I just forgot. He just said it and I just forgot. Anyway, I'll figure it out later. This question right here.
Yeah. Can you guys elaborate on the difference between letting girls chase but also moving the interaction forward?
I
Yeah, I
can.
think it's a pretty straightforward difference. Letting girl chase is actually it's not. Okay, I
I can break
misread.
it down pretty simply.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
basically you want to have a balance of passive attraction and active attraction. So passively, you're kind of letting the girls invest. You're letting them kind of, contribute to the conversation. You're letting them kind of like go after you for a bit. And you can even do some things proactively that allow that passive attraction to happen. So like you can deliberately leave out certain things in interactions, some curiosity. You can build some curiosity by doing that. So you can say like, "Oh my God, you remind me so much of this girl I used to date," and she's gonna say, "In what way?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's so bad. I wouldn't want to tell you." It's like, and she's gonna be like, "Why? Just tell me." And she'll kind of chase that in the interaction. You can kind of position yourself as more high status by doing stuff like that too. But then there's also like moving the interaction. I wouldn't even say that's the opposite. There's not a balance between that. It's you let the girl chase, but you build passive attraction and active attraction. So you can, I don't know if that's a good way to describe it for you. I'm kind of my brain's farting right now.
Here's the way I thought of in my head. Wait, sorry, were you finished or do you want to add something else?
Yeah, it's the passive attraction and active attraction is the two things. I think it's not like letting the girl chase. You just give her space to invest. You ask her a question and allow her to invest even more. And sometimes even when girls finish answering something or talking, I just smile and nod and let them, fill the vacuum even more. And then another thing I'll do is I'll kind of pull away slightly. Like when I know I got the girl, like, and she's basically like hanging on my every word. She's really into me. I can start to pull away a bit like, I don't like that you did that. Or like, oh, what? Gross, and then she starts chasing a little bit more and being like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. Or, and she starts investing very heavily. Those are kind of more advanced ones, but the basics is just like give the girl space to invest. Once you know that you've got the girl, start giving her space. One thing I break down infields for all my students, whether online or in person. And a big mistake is just constantly talking and not giving any space for the girl to invest. They think they need to keep doing, but that's actually not optimally attractive. You need to give the girl space to invest. And ideally the interaction should be kind of a 50-50. If you want to go more advanced, then you can do more advanced takeaways and stuff like that, but it's not necessary.
Here's here's an oversimplified explanation. It's a little bit reductionist, but there's think of it like there's different stages of an interaction. There could be the whatever you met on the street, you're kind of bantering, then you're flirting. Again, I know sometimes these things happen at the same time, but we'll just think of it this way, right? You're flirting, then you're pulling, or you figure out logistics, then she's back at your place, and then you're escalating, right? So if you're letting girl chase while you're in one of those stages, you will create room for her to kind of fill in the gap, like Austen said. But then you're still the one that's moving into the next stage. So you're still the one that basically invites her to your place, or you're the one that figures out logistics. You're the one that actually physically escalates. You're not just waiting for her to do it. I would say that's probably my oversimplified explanation.
Yeah, and you can tease this question is kind of weird, but instead of moving the interaction forward and telling her, come to my place, come to this thing, you can tease these things into the interaction. So you can say like, yeah, I got this rooftop party. We're going to, we've got some people up there and let's show a video of it or whatever. And then have her be like, oh, that seems cool. Or like, can we go? Like, I don't know. Are you going to embarrass me there? Like things like this are actually really good because then they'll start to say that they want to go. And that's like a basic sales principle that works for all of human psychology. Is just, when people are telling you why they should be allowed to go somewhere, that's better than convincing them. People are best at convincing themselves.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
So the answer for me, the way I try to keep it as simple as possible, is just one metric. It is compliance. So if I am getting compliance, then I can do both. I can actually, so this is really hard for people to grasp. Compliance is not only allowing me to see where I am in the interaction, it does not only allow me to see how much attraction I have, it also builds attraction at the same time. So compliance lets you see where you are in the interaction, and it builds attraction in the interaction at the same time. For me, I don't even believe in IOIs. I only believe in IOCs. indicators of compliance. So for me, small piece of compliance. Here's the smallest one. Hey, what's your name? Blah, blah. You guys from here? The small piece of compliance. Then another one I like to do is I'm in some social interaction and I turn my torso away from the girl and I watch to see if she reorients herself in front of me. Very small piece of compliance. Compliance gets bigger. Hey guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You guys want to come with me? She walks with me arm in arm, a little bit more compliance. And then you start seeding some other place you're going to go. Do you want to go? Do you want to get in with me in my car? We're going to go to another place. Cool. Hey, I got to go pick up my glasses back at my place. When we go to my place. Cool. Compliance, compliance, compliance. Take your shoes off. Compliance. I got something. Come here and meet my cat. If my cat doesn't like you, you got to get the fuck out of my apartment. Compliance. Come lay on the bed real quick. Compliance. Check out. Oh, look on the laptop. I just made this video. Compliance. Come here, lay right next to compliance, compliance, compliance. You do that whole thing and it just leads. Every time she does it, it's the Florence Nightingale effect. As she continues to invest, she convinces herself, like what Austen just said, she convinces herself that she is becoming more attractive. To me, this has been the most risk-free way of letting the interaction go forward. The difference between letting girls chase. This is the way for a girl to chase and let the interaction go forward at the same time. This has been the easiest way for me is I only focus on one thing, which is compliance. It's
so funny how like your statement about your cat, I have the exact same statement about my dog, and I've never heard you talk about this ever.
If
I'm like, my dog needs to approve of you.
Fuck out of my apartment. If my dog does not like you, you have to fucking leave. I just want you to know. And the girl's like, no, please let your dog love me, please. And they come in there like, oh, let me pet your dog. And now she's on the fucking floor of your apartment or your house with her shoes off, drinking like gin or drinking vodka while she's petting your dog. Like, yeah,
I feel like there's some like inherent logic to the universe that is there. And it's like, if you go deep enough, everyone kind of discovers the same inherent logic. And so like another thing too, is everyone I've met in the world that's insanely good at game all have Bluetooth speakers that they travel with. I haven't met a guy who's really good at game who doesn't have like a Bluetooth speaker.
Fuck, I guess I'm not really good at game then.
Dude, they're so good. You put them. Austin, I put them right over the headboard. Like if I'm having a threesome with her, I put the Bluetooth speaker right over here over the headboard, and I'll just play music off my laptop. Exactly right. Yeah. Or in the shower because they're waterproof. You can use them in the shower too.
Yeah, I want to make a comment on this, right? A lot of times students think that leading feels inherently needy and feels like you're chasing. All right. The big difference here is going to be on the attraction and compliance you have. So if the girl is really into you, leading is always going to be good. Okay. She's going to be chasing even when you're leading. So an example of that is like, hey, come with me. We're getting a drink. Now, if she follows you and comes, she's chasing, even though you led. But if you don't have any attraction and you're like, hey, come get a drink. And she's like, no, I kind of want to stay here. Now you feel really needy. So that's the difference. You need to make sure you have that attraction and compliance first. The next part of this is as you lead, you can just reframe afterwards. Okay. So your favorite line from now on, the easiest reframe is just stop it. Okay. So if you're standing there with a girl and you're like, okay, well, I'm not just going to passively sit here and wait for this girl to escalate on me, because a lot of times women are going to be a little bit too shy to do that. And you might say, okay, I'm going to escalate on her, but now it feels like I'm chasing, right? Like that doesn't feel right. So afterwards, you just reframe with stop it. So if you're going to make out with a girl, we'll pick a fucking gay
stop
example,
it. I didn't hear
right?
you the first time.
Yeah, agreed. Stop it. So if you're making out, make out with the girl, pull back and whisper in ears, stop it, not here. Because even though you led that, even though you were the one to make out with her, you leave that with her thinking, oh, fuck, okay, yeah, look, I'm sorry type thing. And now, obviously, that was the gay example. We can talk about maybe you're pulling her hair, you're biting her neck, whatever it is you might be doing, even like dirty talk, right? Like I dirty talk in reverse. I don't say, I'm going to do this to you, right? I'd be like, listen, if there weren't so many people around here, okay, I would blah, 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 blah. So you can lead as long as you have the attraction first. And then as you lead, just reframe afterwards. Behave yourself. Stop it. That's enough, right? And it's always going to feel at the end of that, they're like, hey, I wasn't chasing. I wasn't needy. I wasn't trying to push this forward. It's like, if anything, like she needs to fucking settle down. So there you go.
I thought we were coming to my place to read books, and here you are making out with me. I'll say something just like that. It's like, I thought you just wanted to meet my cats.
This kind of leads into this question. Would you say sexualizing is mostly nonverbal? I would say it's 90% nonverbal, but there's 10% that is like, we're like what he was just talking about. He's bringing in like sexual dynamics, and there's certain words that also have that relation that can bring up those sexual feelings as well. But if you got, I mean, all of us have probably done this. Go try to have an interaction where you don't say anything that relates to love, sex, romance, dating, anything like that. and you're just talking about normal stuff, but you talk about it in a very, very sexual way. And not obviously not the beginning of the interaction, but if you just let your, if you deepen your voice, if you have that strong eye contact, if you have proximity, you're getting close. You're putting
what's going on in Gaza, Palestinians, fucking
the nuclear war. And yeah, if you just talk in a more sexual way, if you lead, if you do all the things that make a masculine man, you're going to be sexualizing the interaction. So it doesn't really matter as much what you say, but I do think the verbal layer adds like an extra, like oomph to that for sure.
I think it depends what we mean by verbal. Like I consider it like tone and what you're saying to be majority.
That would be pre-verbal, because your tone, we have that's like the earlier parts of the brain stem. When you hear loud noises, when you hear depth, when you're detecting mates, you're detecting threats. Those are all very, very, very early developed parts of the brain that predate us even being like Homo sapiens.
If tone is part of verbal, then it's like 50-50, I think.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like, because usually when I hear students ask this, they think about escalating through touch or escalating through like the way you speak and what you speak. If we're putting those categories separate, I would say it's mostly how you're saying and what you're saying, because I don't think you need much touch. Like there's a lot of people that try to do this keynote escalation where they're like, I will tap the shoulder, I will tap the hip, I will tap it. Like, I don't believe in that.
In order to get the result.
Exactly. I will touch you now in the shoulder. I think as long as you're like, I'm a big fan of verbal escalation in the fact that I like to figure out what your pain points are here. Like, what are you missing out when it comes to sex? Like, I want to show that I understand you. I want to show that I understand exactly what you want in the bedroom. The biggest thing is what I teach guys. The biggest thing when it comes to sexual pleasure is honestly what you find out. If you find out what these girls' fantasies are, yeah, you need to be able to like give it to her a little bit, right? Like actually know how to do it. But the big step is like finding out what it is, and you do that verbally, and it builds all the sexual tension. I'm not a big fan of like trying to touch her too much. So it depends how we separate them. If you're adding tone to nonverbal, then obviously a lot of it's nonverbal. But if we're just talking about tone and verbal and then physical touch, I think you don't need to worry too much about physical touch.
I think it also depends on the person. The balance might be a bit different. Like someone like Scotty, I would think is more on the physical side. For me, it would actually, I do agree with what you said, Marcus. It's mostly verbal because primarily the main thing I use is just humor. I use sexual innuendos and humor to escalate. That's like probably like 70-80% of my game, honestly. But it doesn't have to be that way for everyone. I know people who don't even really use humor much.
It's interesting you don't say physical touch is very important. But maybe that's because you're not a very physically touchy person, so you're not going to relate to that type of person as much. But I'm extremely touchy, and I find girls when they're extremely touchy. I have a 7-minute poll on my YouTube channel. It's like that girl's a physical touch girl. You know, she's sitting on my lap, being pushed in a wheelchair. I'm making out with her. There's another girl. I haven't put this infield out yet, but the premise behind why I started the infield. I had a student on immersion. He's like, I don't get it. How do you escalate? And I was like, I'm going to show you every example with this girl. And I just went in. I was like, boom, handshake, arm around, eye contact, make out, turn around, dance. Like it was just like every possible physical escalation in like 3 minutes. And at that point, she's like just down to fuck. And I mean, I've also had like bathroom pulls and stuff like this, and that's a lot of it is predicated through a lot of physical touch. Now, if you're too needy with the physical touch, or if it's not you, or you don't feel horny in that moment, I don't think it's going to be great. And for most interactions, I'm not being that as touchy as I was in that example, but I do think physical touch is super important.
All right, so here's like,
I love this guy's name, by the way. I was gonna pull up this comment before. I was gonna say, dude, I gotta pull up this comment. This guy's an anonymous.
He asked really good questions.
All right, so this is sexual tension. It's gonna go up like this throughout the night, but like physical touch is gonna go like this, and then it's gonna come up at the end for me at night, because I've pulled in bathrooms too, but usually when I pull in the bathroom, I'm just asking the girl for compliance, like I said before, so let's go to the bathroom. Then when we're alone together, because I'm the guy who doesn't count, then we hook up, and then afterwards we act like nothing happened. So there's sexual tension throughout the night. You can do that non-verbally, but I wait until she's alone with me and has shown me enough compliance before there's physical.
How do you define sexual tension? I define it as postponement of physicality that both of you want.
So it could be, I mean, you were looking at two sides of the same thing, like the glass half full, half empty. For me, what it is the sexual tension comes from she is generally either making the conversation also sexual herself, having conversations about things that are sexual. Usually I'm really good at this because if you guys watch my show Access Vegas, I'm good at making the girls turn things sexual. That's a big thing I do. And then a lot of times I'll act like I'm either innocent or naive. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
But I think those are verbal cues of something that they would want to do with you. Even if a girl's talking about something pretty sexual she wants to do with you, she may not necessarily be at the point of the interaction where she would do those things, but it's a hint that, like, if she's talking about like sucking dick or something, she would at least probably kiss you or hug you or like things like this.
So the answer to your question, the bridge is the compliance. It's the compliance between the two things that then cause her discussion, which raises sexual tension, to lead to like physical touch. It's the compliance I get from her. She talks about the sexual tension or whatever. Like she'll come on Access Vegas, talk about that, whatever, and then she'll come back with me to my place when I ask her.
I think you could have. I don't think that you need sexual verbals to have that sexual interaction. I've tested this too, where I go out and I don't talk about anything sexual, and I still get the compliance. And I can tell based around the girl's signals and how if she's touching me back to see where I'm at in the interaction.
Yeah, so in my mind, both of these work, right? Like you can turn a girl on by touching her, and you can turn a girl on by talking about it. What I've found is girls are going to be much more receptive and more horny from the less touch. What I've noticed is you might even see students that make out with a girl, they're actually less horny after the make out than before. Now, yes, there's where you can do it, where you can build tension. As I said before, like pull her by the neck, pull her back, you go to kiss her, you kiss her a little bit, that's all you get, you push her away. You can build it up that way for sure. And there's ways to escalate on this 100%. But when girls get to talk about the fantasy that they've never had, if you get to tell her, like, you're dirty talk in her ear, this is the reason why women like erotica more than they do porn, and more than they often like just getting fucked out of nowhere, right? Is they like the build up. It's hugely mental. So don't get me wrong, like I'm not one to not choke a girl in a club, right? But I think physical is important. But for me, what I've found is you can build up so much tension with talking to the girl about it, and where there's that strong anticipation, as opposed to when you like give it to her. That's the difference.
Side note, that's the funniest question ever when students are like, how do I choke a girl when I meet her? It's like, this is not for you, please. I don't even talk about that in the course. It's like,
exactly.
You basically, someone else had a comment on this, some sexual authority thing. It's like, let's have you get the experience in the bedroom first and understand what women like so that you can calibrate that, and then maybe think about that afterward. But I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, one of the 3 ways I talk about closing with my students is like exploring her kinks. If you can just talk casually about a girl's kink, or the thing that she's into in bed, in a way where it's just like totally normal and casual, and then you can also move away from that topic because it's not that important to you. It is like crack. Most guys are not going to be able to fuck properly, and then if you add in, most guys aren't going to be able to do their kink properly. It's a very small subsection of girls. I mean, Alex had a video. He asked girls like, what percentage of guys do you think is good in bed? And I think it was like 20% or something.
I think 10%.
That's high. 10%. I thought it would be less.
So at least I don't know about you guys, but when it comes close to the bedroom, I'm like, this girl's gonna fucking love this. Like, it's like my strength is in the bedroom. Like, so you should talk about this, but also talk about sexual authority. We'll lead into that topic.
Real quick, going back to what Marcus just said, I want you to think about like the pliability of a metal. When you get it really hot, you can bang on it. You can change the shape of the metal. If you get it really hot, but you don't have the hammer ready, then it just sits there and it cools down. This is why I'm not a big fan, and why I've talked to several guys about this. The girl who rubs her ass on you in the club, the girl who makes out with you over and over again in the club. What you've done is either she's just getting attention for you, or you've spiked buying temperature to its highest point when you're 10, 20 miles away from your bed. The stupidest time to do so. Keep that tension rolling, get compliant. She goes back to your place. And then when she's rubbing her ass on you, when you guys are alone in the bedroom, 10 times more effective doing it then than in the club, where she's just getting free attention and validation off you. I highly recommend, guys, don't fall for the trap. I see guys do this I've seen infield videos of like this. A guy gets like 7 makeouts with a girl, and he's like, well, I would have fucked, but her friend pulled her away. It's like, no, you were never going to fuck, dude. That's why you made out with her 7 times, right? And that guys don't understand this. Make them earn your dick. I don't know how else to explain this, guys. We act like we're fucking worthless. Not the four of us here, but in general, a lot of times as men, we act like we are fucking worthless, and we simp out and we give so much attention to these women because they have a fat ass and big tits, and we got to stop doing this. They need to earn our respect and our attention. They need to earn it. They need to even earn our conversation, not just because they're attractive. They all get treated like fucking guys. They all get treated in the fucking friend zone until they earn some level of interest from me. I show no women intent until they earn it from me.
But this is a little bit of a chicken and egg problem, because it's easy for us to say that, but if a guy doesn't have any abundance, he's in massive scarcity, it is like really, really difficult for him to like play cool, as you say, or like not show interest, right? Or not give, I think what you said is not give attention if a girl hasn't earned it. I think it's like a chicken egg thing. Once you get more abundance, it becomes so much easier and easier and easier. But like it is kind of tough when you're starting.
Dude, just be confident, bro.
No, but honestly, like that's a good point. What I tell guys is it's going to feel way more validating. Okay. It's going to feel way better when you see this girl following you around the fucking club and just giving you all this attention instead of how it felt to like make out with her or have her booty up against you, right? That feels good for a second. Yeah. You spend the whole night with this girl desperately fucking chasing you. Imagine how good that's going to feel. So I don't mind you soaking up the validation. All right. But if you're going to soak it up, do it properly, right? Have it where the girl is, desperately chasing you all night. Take that.
One way to think about it is like sexual tension is like capital, right? And so you can cash that capital in. So when you make out with a girl, you cash some of the capital in, right? And then for example, when you're trying to pull a girl, you're cashing some of the capital in. And if you already ruined all your capital by just ruining the sexual tension by constantly making out with her or whatever, I think makeouts under a minute are fine. But when you go to like the 5, 10, 20-minute makeouts, I think that's when you're completely killing the sexual tension.
I would even say one kiss or makeout can actually be better than withholding it for the entire night to build it up. And then you pull it away and you have her kind of like chase that for the rest of the night. I do like that strategy.
No more than a minute.
Yeah. One, and I generally try to do it when her friends aren't watching, just to let us both know that we're there, that she's comfortable with that. And then I ask for more compliance. But if she wants more compliance from me, or if she wants more validation from me, she has to earn it. She has to earn it. It's really, like, you're right, Alex. It is hard when you don't have that feeling of abundance. But a few things you can do. You can make sure it's a decision that you make to not overly touch a girl when you meet her, no matter how attracted you are to her. And it's hard to do that. And it's hard. Also, man, if you got to wear fucking sunglasses like Austen here, so she doesn't see you staring at her tits over and over again. That's why I think guys wear sunglasses, honestly, is so that you can't see their reaction, like what poker players do. But the looking at the tits over and over again, big smile on your face, your voice goes up. Hey, do you guys want to come get a drink with us? You guys want to come a drink? Lots of bloviation, like kind of, yeah. You guys seem kind of cool, yeah. Like vocal fry. Wow, you guys are so cool. All this shit that didn't happen when you were talking to your guy friends, then all of a sudden there's a vocal fry, there's a higher pitch, you're seeking rapport, you start to sound feminine, there's feminine head movement, all this type of shit that happens. I have my guys do man on the street videos so I can watch for when they do this with women, and so many of them do it, and they have no, I was like, dude, why did you become a homosexual right there when you started talking to that girl? I don't understand what happened. But they'd never seen it before, so they weren't aware. And that's why this is so important.
Yeah, but if they're aware of it, they can kind of keep it down a bit, but they're still, I feel like it emerges from something within where it's like, this is a special opportunity. It's like, it's the same thing. It's abundance and scarcity. It's the ultimate self-fulfilling prophecy. I think the more abundance you get, that will naturally calm down. But yeah, I think being aware of it too is important. Like a lot of people, that's a good reason why to film as well. There's so many weird tics that people have. Like some people, like they're literally like, I had this one guy, he's doing his arms like this while standing in place with the girl, like swinging around. And like, he's like, I was like, why are you moving so much? He's like, I wasn't. I'm like, here's video proof of you. Like,
they have no idea how bad, they have no idea how bad their breath smells, what they fucking smell like, the shit that's in their teeth, how irrelevant their haircut is, how irrelevant the clothes that they wear are. You tell them and they want to fucking argue with you. Sometimes I bring women with me whenever I go do boot camp or whenever I do immersion, just so the girl can tell them, so the guy just fucking gets it through their head. Dude, your breath stinks. I'm sorry, where you're from, I know you doesn't seem like that, but they don't want to take the feedback sometimes.
I know in India you'd be considered clean smelling, but in America we have a little bit different standards.
Hey, why did you
apparently deodorant industry is like skyrocketing in India.
The what industry?
This deodorant industry in India is skyrocketing. It's like because I think I don't want to go into the reasons, but
Yeah, yeah. I do want to touch. Actually, Michael said something that gave me an idea. Like, what is like? I guess this question for everyone. Like, how do you deal when the girl's in a group? So, like, kind of the way I look at it is, there's two categories. The first is that when a girl's with a guy who's trying to fuck her. This could be like a guy who's friend zoned or whatever. In that case, then in those situations, I think the best thing to do is to almost like ignore him, like give him no attention. Like he has no, if he does, like if you have to be like, oh, cool, yeah, whatever. And then go back to talking to the girl and just kind of ignoring him. And you can use your body language to box him out. But I don't like doing anything higher than that, because then that creates the risk for like a fight or whatever. And also sometimes then there will be fallback with the girl. But then the second category is where she's with her brother, or she's with her just friends, like legitimate friends, or she's with whatever, right? Someone who's not trying to fuck her. In that situation, I think the best balance is to engage with the group a little bit, make them laugh, make them think that you're not a weirdo, but don't spend too much time talking to the group and eventually isolate. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, this is I prefer if they're with groups. I know it's the opposite, but again, it's because the social circle stuff I do, it's like, hey guys, let's go over here. Let's meet these people. And to me, it's just better because when I can make her friends join in, then with like, let's say, here's the girl I like, and then there's her best friend. When me and her best friend are making fun of her at the same time, it just builds so much sexual tension, and like she wants validation. So I like the groups. I actually prefer them when I meet girls in groups.
I want to close the loop on. I want to close the loop on physicality. Yeah, if you're not showing any intent, then yeah, you have to show. There's a balance, right? It's a balance of freedom from outcome and intent. And if you're too far on one side of the spectrum, you're going to, if you're too showing intent, you come off as desperate and needy and weird. If you don't show enough intent and you're kind of like too passive, she doesn't think that you like her. The other thing is this guy's. He came on the show before, right? That's kind of how I feel. It's like, I think a big sign that you are good with women is that you're very comfortable with physicality, and you also know not when to overdo it. So like, even opening, I'll be physical on the open, and girls are receptive to it when you think it's totally normal and cool. And obviously calibrate to the girl. But if you get really good at just like little touches, arm around, handshakes, like fist bumps, like all this, and like holding a girl's hand, all this type of like lower level on the physical escalation ladder, lower level stuff on that is totally fine to use quite a bit.
I want to go back to my question though, which is for your question for you guys. Is like, how do you deal with if a girl's with friends? Like, let's say two scenarios. She's with a guy who's friend zone trying to fuck her, or she's with like her brother, for example, or her like two girlfriends.
Yeah, so if I see a girl with, sorry, go ahead.
When it comes to the friend zone guy trying to fuck her, that's probably the most difficult one, because you are not going to win him over, right? He's always going to have some level of like passive aggressive. So usually what's like with the brother, it's easy. You win the brother over and you're like, hey man, your sister's really cool. Like, I've got a sister, like blah, blah. Like you can win that guy over. And most of the time, if you show him respect, you talk him up, he's going to be completely fine. And then eventually, as Michael said, like you can use the friends to build a track. Eventually you just isolate, you pull, you're good. That's not a problem. The real issue is the friend zone fucking guy, because he's into the girl knows it. He's probably never really said it out loud, or he's never really like properly made a move, or maybe he didn't get rejected, but he'll use this like friend zone. It's like a female cockblock friend zone thing to try passive aggressively, like fuck you over. And so he'll like, hey, let's go get a drink. He'll try to pull her away. He might say this guy's weird. He won't be receptive to you. There's going to be like a weird tension, and you're going to pick up on that right away. Once I build some value with a girl, I'll tell her, I'm like, hey, who's this guy?
How long you guys been together?
Like, he's my friend. And I will just call it out. I'm like, oh, he's a friend zone guy. Okay, he's the friend zone guy. Yeah. And she'll immediately smile and be like, yep. And I'm like, okay, how long's he been trying for? And she's like, oh, it's been a year. And I'm like, fuck, poor guy.
Yeah. And then actually what you can do is almost play devil's advocate and be like, you should give him a shot. He doesn't seem that bad. Like,
qualification. Yeah, exactly. And she's going to be like, no. But then eventually what I do is I'll just be like, if he keeps coming in, keeps trying to pull it, at some point you need to do something. Like, if that doesn't work, to disqualify, like at some point you have to do something. You have to tell the girl, like, look, he's always done this because he's done it before 100%. I know he stops you from having fun at parties. You need to stick up for yourself. You can't put up with this. If she's not willing to do it, I fucking call it out. If you get to the end of the night and this guy's still doing that shit, I'll be like, bro, you're friend zoned. Okay, she doesn't like you. She just told me she's not into you. Right now, this is like your last option, right? I call out. I'm like, bro, she doesn't like it. Okay, I know you're into it, and he's gonna get all defensive. No, I'm not. We'll leave us alone then. Give us some space. And now he either as a friend zone guy has to admit I fucking like this girl, or he has to be like, okay, I'm sorry. So it's hopefully she kind of gets.
This is so toxic. I love it, bro.
I would say though, just the one thing to add to what you said, Marcus, which I think actually that's a really good point about like almost like calling his bluff at the end, because he has to admit to liking the girl, or he has to just basically disqualify himself. I think.
Say, do you remember what I said 2 weeks ago? I said, whenever good dating advice is shared amongst men to women, it will fucking sound toxic. This is another example of what I'm saying. Mainstream people would listen to what Marcus just said, and it sounds toxic, but it's good dating advice. This is why I'm saying I think a lot of this stuff will never go mainstream. But going back to what Marcus said, as soon as I see that the guy's a friend zone, I'm like, this is incredible. Because one of my rules is when a woman is surrounded by beta, she begins to crave alpha. I like what Marcus, I would have said the same way. I'd be like, so how long have you guys been dating? And she's like, no, I've never been dating. No. And then now she's literally having to explain that she's never been with this guy. And in order to prove it, she's going to ditch him to come hang out with me. So yeah, it's the exact same thing. The thing that Marcus said at the end, that's super fucking toxic. I've never done that, but I
wouldn't even consider it toxic. Honestly.
That's nuclear, dude. But that's nuclear though, because the thing is, if you run in the same social circle as that dude, you're fucked. Like he's gonna talk shit about you forever. That's why I'm saying like that is the nuclear option, but it'll probably work. It definitely will work if the guy's if he's pretending like he's not in the friend zone.
Yeah, I'd say one of my rules is don't give a shit what people think unless they're like your family or close friends. Just the one thing I was going to add to what you said, Marcus, is that I do think that like the power of just ignoring someone can really go a long way, and also boxing them out with your body language, like just giving them like no attention. Like sometimes they'll deliberately try to provoke you, right? And you just completely ignore them, ignore their attempts, and just focus on talking to the girl and really try to.
The problem is if that's her friend or someone close to her, it could be less optimal to box him out or like ignore him, because she would feel bad because that's her friend that she's known for a while. But I like Marcus's strategy, like kind of calling out.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm thinking more
of what will do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for random guys, for sure, dude. Just complete ignore. It puts them in like a really weird position, especially when the girl's attention's all on you. And then if you walk away with the girl, then he has to like literally follow you to get in. And most guys are not going to do that.
Kind of show your back to the guy and like.
But that strategy can backfire if you just assume that this is some guy that she doesn't know. It can backfire so bad. Because sometimes it'll be her brother, her cousin, her friend.
Well, yeah, that's why I think the first step is to ask her, how do you guys know each other?
Yeah, if it's a friend zone guy, like sometimes the boxing off might help to show, like, look, this guy just keeps coming in, right? Like you're nice to him, you do everything, and then you start talking to him, and that could be a nice way to show it. But the problem is these fucking friend zone guys, man, he'll go find the other friends, and he'll say something like, hey, let's all go over to this place. Like, I don't know who this guy is or some shit. Like, they're so fucking manipulative. Holy fuck.
Marcus, but then in this situation, you just say, listen, bro, if you don't bother us, I'm going to give you 50% off to my course. You'll actually be able to go there. Here's a coupon code.
Be able to fucking real life, bro.
True. I mean,
dude, I give my girlfriend my business card, so when guys approach her, she gives the business cards. It's like, hey, my boyfriend actually teaches how to do this. You can do better.
Bro. Oh, that's funny.
MOA mentioned
would do that. They would refer.
I should actually start doing that.
No, Alex, I already do it now. I have girls that make a ton of money off my MOAmentoring.com/affiliates, and they get these codes from the creepiest dudes who send them messages, and then they just sell them my course. It happens all the time, dude. Yeah,
sure. Michael's got a bunch of creepy guys, and he's like, "Where'd you come from?"
Yeah.
I guess I gotta get my girlfriend to recreate her social media and fucking
lead source girlfriend.
Yeah.
Got rejected by your girlfriend.
I did used to use my girlfriend's Instagram account to like reach out to girls to get them on for speed dating because I felt like they'd be more receptive towards a girl.
Yeah, that's smart. Good play.
Best races to date. Let's rank them.
Best what?
Races. I'm going to go with humans. I'm going to say humans is number one.
No, it was a funny question because it's obviously,
But wait, let's address the question that was on the screen. So the guy was asking, actually, I still remember this from Anonymous Coward, is what should you value an infield where the dating coach didn't close or things didn't work out over text? Should you value that less? My answer.
So the first example I saw of this was a French dating coach about 11 years ago, and he put out an infield, and he was like, he was like, yeah, I don't have any text messages. I didn't meet up with her afterward. And his point was, independent of the result of that one interaction, what were the actions that he took? Were they the correct actions? Was his tone good? Was his strategy good? Was his open good? How did he lead the interaction? So I think you have to kind of separate leading indicators from lagging indicators. The leading indicators are the actions you take, and the lagging indicators are the results you get. And further down a funnel of game, you're going to have drop off at certain points.
Yeah, but also a strong counterpoint to that is that a guy who's deciding this doesn't know what good game is.
Yeah, so, I was getting to that. If he's had other results, like if he has 10 infields where he's like fucking slaying it, and girls are like, please give me your number, I want to fuck you. And then there's like one where he's not getting the number or whatever. I think it's totally fine. Look at and I guess, yeah, it is hard to differentiate like who is good and who is not good. I'd say get a top 10% per, like whoever you resonate with. If they're like a top 10 dating coach, top 20, whatever, and you resonate with their style and you see that they get results and they have good testimonials, like sure, try them out. Like most people aren't going to resonate with everyone. Like some people, like I know for me, some of the people I follow online, no one else likes. Like my business mentor is Brandon Carter, and I love that dude. He's so funny. I love his style. I try to get my friends into watching his stuff. No one likes it, but it's like it resonates with me. And
I do. He's one of my good friends.
Yeah, Austin, you should feel honored. I actually watched your content before I ever created a YouTube channel.
Oh, really? Nice. Thanks,
yeah,
bro.
I think I told you that in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird thinking about. I know Michael's been doing this for a long time, but for me, it's like I look at doing this online. It's like I've been doing this shit for like 11 years, like making social media content and stuff. It's kind of like weird, and like you see people pop up. They like just started like putting like goggles on their face to like record, and they're like 1 million subscribers. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro! I've just put 11 years in.
Yeah, like 90% of those guys are not even like
they got bad leads, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't let it bother you. They got bad leads.
That's my problem. Awesome. Is that like a funny, interesting open should just be entertaining. It shouldn't be advice. Like I see, I don't want to name names, but there's guys on the Instagram and shit. Like you see him go do an open, and it's like a funny, confident open, and then guys are like, "Holy shit, this guy has the best game ever," and it's like, dude, he went and did an open in front of.
I think I know who you might be talking about. I'm gonna text you on WhatsApp, and you can just tell me yes or no.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of like, dude, this isn't good game. Like, I feel like, if you are gonna judge an infield, I think it is important to judge like the whole infield, and I think guys should be honest with what happened in that interaction. Like, by the way, I have no problem like showing infield in my mastermind or my course and being like, oh, by the way, like, nothing ended up happening here, or I closed this goal and I fucked a friend or whatever, and. In the mastermind, we do this. Like Alex has just filmed a bunch of infield recently. He's sharing screenshots of like what happened afterwards. He's going through the texting. I think he's got a video where he's doing like physical escalation on one of the girls. Like I think it's important for the guys to know and not just see like an open of a goal where it's like entertaining and the guy acts like he's closed all these goals when in fact we know half these goals. Like it's the funny open and that's it, and the goal's moving on. So I think there's a big difference.
Sometimes you like meet those people in real life and then you realize that like, oh, their success rate is like not even that good.
Yeah, I don't think it's sometimes, Alex. I think it's almost all the time, and I've been on both ends. I've seen these guys shoot infield before, and most of them are terrible, and it never goes anywhere. Because here's one of the things that I've seen is that the thing that makes the infield good a lot of times is also the thing that ends up screwing up the pull, because the guy is too flamboyant. It's like, because getting a makeout quickly on camera looks good for YouTube and for newbies, and is terrible fucking game. So that's the point. That's why I would just not recommend. I don't recommend that at all. I honestly, it's like, who's this guy dating? I would look at who's he dating. When he throws parties, are there a bunch of fucking hot girls? Do hot girls follow him? Do hot girls like him? To me, that's what I would look at more than infield.
I think you have a point there. I mean, some of that stuff can be fake though, but like if you're seeing that this guy's able to get girls on stream, that you like, I think another litmus test is like, can this guy like just flirt with a girl? Like, can he like not open, not like a 1 minute thing, but can he flirt with a girl for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? Is it look like he's able to build sexual tension, right? And then like have you ever seen him physically with a girl, right? Does it look like it's like an intimate setting, or it's like somewhere in public? So I think that I think it's just difficult for a lot of guys who don't really have a basis of experience, and they just like can't tell who's legit and who's not.
Yeah, you know, I'll call this name out. It's not really a call out because he doesn't claim to be a dating person, but you know, that was epic, Juan, and like some people like this. It's like those are the most watched pickup videos ever. Like if you just combine all the views, I think they are the most watched pickup videos of all time. It's just like college campus, go up, get a number, and bounce. And that also teaches a bad lesson, which is just go up and get contact and then bounce, and then like that's it. Whereas you could be doing so much of the creation of that attraction and that interaction just by bantering for 2 minutes before leaving, or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. And yeah, especially if you guys have watched any of us, you know, you can just continue the interaction. And yeah.
I think it's a shame that there's what's up? Oh yeah, I was just gonna add one thing. I do think it's a shame that in the pickup industry, 90% of the people are either grifters or at least moderate exaggerators, and so that can give like there's a lot of goofy dudes in the pickup industry, and
I will even say it's beyond pickup. I mean, we have the luxury, all four of us, of knowing people in all these industries, and you can see the behind the curtain in every single industry, what it's actually like versus what they portray themselves. People be like, all right, guys, here's how to hit consistent 7-figure months. And you're like, what? And then you meet them and they're barely able to pay their rent. And you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand. Why would you want to live a life where you're completely inauthentic all the time? It seems kind of weird.
Because you read some sales books and you read some Dan Kennedy and you took it way too literally, and you just realized that saying whatever.
I think it's the same thing. Scarcity, right? They're like, I need.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about threesomes.
Yeah.
So first mindset shift for threesomes is that all girls are bisexual. The majority of women are bisexual, and if you look up porn categories, the lesbian and threesome are women's favorite categories. So, and there's some weird stat. It was like 77% of women want a threesome, but only like 10% have. So it's very sad and it's very tragic, and we need to like destroy that threesome gap.
We need to help that threesome gap. Is that what you're saying? As like a community service?
When you say it's the most common category, do you mean female, male, male? Or are you talking about two girls?
It's the most commonly searched term.
We're talking about male, female. You're talking about
two girls.
Yeah,
most commonly
I think the most common
women is lesbian, and
is the male, female, right? Or no?
You're talking about the devil's threesome, bro.
It's just
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like he's saying all women are lesbian.
Women are more likely to like female
threesome.
Male.
Okay, got it. Okay, I haven't heard that.
But just my search term, lesbian and threesome are the top two.
Can I say? By the way, if you guys ever have any statistical guys, if you guys have any questions about any stats that anyone brings up, use perplexity.ai and it will look up those stats immediately. It's the best research tool I've ever seen in my life. It scrapes the internet in real time. Use ChatGPT as a backup. It also has Claude and Sonnet and Grok built into it. Perplexity.ai, it's overtaking OpenAI very quickly. It's built by Anthropic. Anyway, listen.
Okay, let me continue.
Okay, all right.
So I want to dispel two myths first. One is that a threesome partner is hard to find. It's not really. They even invented a term for it called a unicorn, which is so ridiculous because when you have a hot girlfriend, every girl wants to fuck her. So you're not looking for a unicorn. You're just looking for a girl. The second thing is, another myth is you need to either set the expectation in your relationship that you're going to have threesomes or it's impossible to do at a later date. That is a complete myth. The two girlfriends I had that I had the most threesomes with, both we started one having threesomes 6 months in, the second one 2 years in. But there's some prerequisites before you even get into thinking about threesomes. Number one, you have to be good at twosomes first. I was on a live with David Bond, and this guy was like, hi, I want to start doing harems. And I want to start having foursomes. And he's like, all right, so what's your lay count? And he goes, I'm a virgin right now. It's like, bro, there's levels to this. Be good at twosomes first. Second, you got to be good at sex. Third, you got to be good at game. Fourth, you need to create an open, judgment-free environment for girls to experiment. And fifth, you have to have a big bed. So, it's just a must.
Or a big balcony. A balcony will work.
And then, so the number one way I would tell you to have a threesome is to get a bisexual girl and date her. Beautiful. And then you introduce another girl. The idea of like you're going out and you're going to meet two girls and fuck both of them, it can happen. But all the threesomes I've had, I've only had two of those out of dozens.
Okay.
And then Another thing is women are acutely aware of how you're allocating attention. So a really good way is to mirror escalate between them. So you escalate on each girl kind of equally, especially if you're dating a girl or you're in a relationship with one particular girl. Some can be very like jealous, overly jealous to the point where it shuts the threesome down if you give too much attention to the other girl. Some girls, like I dated one girl, she was kind of like a voyeur. She like wanted me to fuck the girl first and then join in afterwards. Kind of weird. But third thing, bigger the group, the bigger the fun. Michael knows this. It's like you want to have the more girls you want to incorporate. This is going above threesomes. I'm going to skip this. Allow the girls to connect on a girl-to-girl level. This is super key. I read this in some really old school game book, but at some point you're going to want to allow the girls to just do their own thing. So you can go make drinks. You can go in the other room, allow them to just kind of like sync up on that girl-to-girl level, reduce any jealousy. One of the reasons why bisexuality evolves in women was to decrease tension inherent in co-wife relationships. So you need to give them time to just kind of be together and like hang out. And the most threesomes I've had was when the girls start hooking up first and then I join in slightly afterward.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I could rant on this for the next 3 hours, but I'm going to give space. I'm going to allow some passive attraction here. So,
okay. So here's the thing. What you said, all true. You're kind of getting to my points in reverse order. There's 3 types of threesomes. I'm going to recommend the third type, which is the one that Austen said, but here's the other type. There's the Coke, Molly, money threesome. This is a girl. She goes to Ibiza. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. This girl normally would not have a threesome. She just, maybe she is bisexual, but she normally wouldn't do it. But her boyfriend's got money. They're in Ibiza. They're just trying it one time. And they're all the girls are fucked up on Molly. There's a lot of guys, the only threesomes they've ever had in their life, they give girls drugs, they give girls blow, stuff like that. That's the one type of threesome. Second type of threesome, like you said before, you meet 2 women that independently want to have sex with you at the same time. I call this the Drake threesome. Drake has probably had girls who aren't even bisexual fuck it, but 2 of them fuck him at the same time. Like the last time I did this was my birthday party. I had multiple girls there. I went to the bathroom, came back. These 2 girls were taking a picture together, and they had made an arrangement that they were both going to go home with me at the same time. And they didn't even touch each other the whole time while we had a threesome. And the third kind, which is the most consistent, it is the most common, and the one I recommend is what Austen said before. You want a woman, you can, so what you said about bisexuality. There's a great book about this. It's called the one about oh gosh, I can't remember the eHarmony guy who wrote the book. What's it called? Dataclysm. In the book Dataclysm, they go over bisexual men and bisexual women. Bisexual men, when they ranked themselves as being bisexual, when they rated themselves as being bisexual, they only messaged men. Bisexual women would message men and women. Bisexuality for women is a spectrum. For men, it tends to be much, much more binary. So for women, if I find a woman, when the line of delineation for me is above 50% or below 50%, a woman above 50% is comfortable eating another woman's vagina. I know this seems like something that's like a very small thing, but it's very important. A woman who is comfortable eating, like, have you been on a date?
I like how technical you're talking about eating pussy.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, but like, have you been on? So the two questions I'm going to ask are: have you been out with women? Do you like women? That's going to be the first one. Have you been out on a date with a woman where it's just you and her, and it was like sexual? That's the second one. That is not that invasive a question. And then the third one is: have you ever gone down on a girl? When she's gone down on a girl and she's been on a date with a girl before, that's above 50% bisexuality. For me, these are the optimal girls to have threesomes with. For me, I usually bring the girl in. I have a conversation with them. And it's very direct. We're going to take this girl home, sir. Yes, sir. Like, exactly. You're going to take the girl. You're going to escalate in the back seat. I tell the girl exactly what to do. And what you said before about the girls like connecting with each other, that's all I do. I have the girl that I'm with do all of the physical escalation, and I'm basically the butler. And then once we get home, then all of a sudden, like this is one of the most important things. Your girl needs to brag about how good you are in bed. She needs to be like, oh my God, you got to come back with me. If she brags, you need zero escalation. I've had several dozen threesomes where I said barely anything to the other girl. And it would happen because my girl was escalating and bragging. That's the reason why that happened. And she was comfortable. She was above that 50% limit. Does that make sense? So I'm sorry. I'm trying to be super nerdy and technical here. For me, doing this very consistently, me doing this, I'm telling you, this is the secret to making it happen. A woman who, not just bisexual, but over 50% bisexual, not a pillow princess who lets girls go down on her, but will not go down on other girls. That's not what you're looking for. You can still invite a girl like that into a threesome, but that's not That's not who you're going to want to be as a primary. And then have direct, clear conversation with your primary about what you're going to do and when she's going to escalate. And generally, the two girls are making out in the back seat. That's generally while I'm driving them back to my place. That's how
I can tell you have a military background because you're like the primary, the objective. She must be this. We must go. We debrief afterward.
Have you ever guys had a threesome where it was like you and a girl you're with, and the second girl, she was really into the girl you're with, but she was like neutral about you, and then the only reason you had a threesome was because the girl you were with, and you probably would not have fucked her if it was just your bias.
I'd say that if your girl's hot enough, that happens all the time. Yeah, for sure. I know several girls that I've slept with would never have slept with me if it wasn't.
So, Michael, how do you have a threesome like that and not let it chip away at your self-esteem? Because that happened to me.
Really? That chipped away your self-esteem? I don't care which.
No, I'm just teasing.
I'm gonna say no.
I thought it was awesome. I was like, hey, listen, I banged this girl that probably normally would not have banged.
Yeah, I want to add a couple of things to this.
The hotter your girlfriend or girl is, the easier it is. By the way, you have higher.
There's two women I've been with. And when we asked, they never said no. I'm talking about not one time did a girl say no when we asked. There's two girls there's a threesome look. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, you're exactly right.
So for just running my mouth, the guy that's asking this, the first thing I want to dispel, okay, because I went through a period where I was like, look, every stage of game, I want to challenge myself. I did a period of just like amogging and shit. And then I went a period, I'm like, I just want to have threesomes and group sets. That's the only thing I want to have. So I went a year where I was like, it was rare that I was just fucking one-on-one. I was like, I just want to like get really fucking good at this. The issue with this is threesomes probably aren't as amazing as you think they are in terms of pleasure. They're really fun and exciting and it's cool. But I see like, I just want to experience this once in my life. Experience it. It's going to be fun, but it's probably not like the greatest sexual experience you'll ever have. So just a warning there. Number two, there is a bunch of different ways to do this. I think I've infield on YouTube where I pulled a threesome from like a club with like two girls. But the easiest way, as Michael said, is you find one girl. But things I want to add to this is make it really casual. Okay. It's just a fun sexual experience you have with this girl. And then open up the chat about fantasies. You don't want to make this sound like, hey, babe, I really want a threesome. This is like my dream. Can we please make it happen? The threesome is all about her. So you ask her, like, what are your fantasies? What do you like? So maybe she's like, oh, I've never been tied up before. I've never been handcuffed. Cool. Pull out some handcuffs. You can do that next time. Then say, like, what? Maybe she's like, I don't really know. You're like, listen, you would love a threesome. I can already tell. Now, she's probably going to be like most girls, interested in girls, thought about it, but never done it, right? It is like a lot of girls like that. But you just say, like, listen, you're going to absolutely love it. You get to experience it with another girl. It's fun. This girl's like really awesome. And then talk up the other girl. I don't care if you're only seeing one other girl and you've only slept with 3 girls in your entire life. Talk up the other girl and act as if you've picked her out. So I would say I have the perfect girl for you, right? Perfect girl. Now you might show her, maybe the girl's like, that's not really my type. No. Like her personality, you guys are going to click. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be, trust me, right? Then you do the exact same thing with the other girl. The reason you want to do this on your first threesome is jealousy is really hard to deal with. If this is a girl you've been seeing and dating and you're not that experienced and it's your first threesome, you're probably really going to struggle with dealing with jealousy and like who to actually spend more time with. So if you can, try to do this with a girl you've only slept a couple of times and also with another girl you've only slept another couple of times with. And you run the exact same shit. You guys are going to get along. You guys are absolutely going to love this. It's going to be cool. Then when you meet up, just have them both over, have a glass of wine. As Austen said, the girls are probably going to chat and get along with each other really fucking well. They're probably going to ignore you for a little bit. That's fine. Like, not ironically, don't get butthurt, right? Like, they're going to do their thing. And then when you take them to the bedroom, just lead. Whoever seems more nervous, tell them to lay down. You and the other girl can start giving her a massage. Then you can lead it to one of you eating her out. And as Michael said, like, some girls don't want to eat pussy. That's fine. If they don't want to eat pussy, it's cool. And then just lead and direct, right? Lead and direct. Hey, you go here, you do this. You don't want to be in a threesome sitting there being like, so what should we do, guys? Does anyone, like, the girls will feel, and I know if you first three, the girls will feel that nervous tension. So just fucking lead. Hey, lay down. You make out with her. Do this, and then you'll be sweet. I also have like a video on this with like text examples of how to do it and how to walk it through. So if you want to do it, have fun. Threesomes are cool, but they're probably just not the best pleasure you'll ever experience.
I did a video on this, I think a few years ago. So here's my strategy for having a threesome from scratch. I do agree that if you're with a girl who's into it. That's probably the easiest way, but let's assume you don't have anyone. So you would go on Tinder and you would just screen for a relatively DTF girl. So just do everything normally. You bang the girl. After you're like a minute to 10 minutes after sex, you look at her and you say, like, you're talking about the sex, you're talking about the experience, and you say, hey, by the way, are you into girls at all? At that point in time, like right after you had sex, she's much more likely to say yes. If she says, no, not really, I'd be like, oh, you never thought about it? So you kind of just baited. But a lot of times the girls in this situation be like, yeah, sort of, I'm very picky, blah, 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 standard like girl answer. So then you basically sell her an idea, like kind of what Marcus said. You talk about how hot it's going to be. You play into her kinks and fantasies. Then you create a joint Tinder account. So the way, I think the best way to do this is to have a basically take her Tinder profile, but put like 1 or 2 photos of you guys together. But then keep the profile generally like a girl profile and just 1 or 2 photos of you guys together. Then you can set it as interested in girls, right? And then basically every girl that swipes right on her is going to see a photo of you and she's going to understand what's up. And then you basically, whether using her account or your account, you basically just do a little bit of building sexual tension, switch things over to text, and then you add the girls to a group chat. So it's you and the 2 girls. And the girls will just take care of all the fucking banter. They'll just go, oh my God, everyone chatting. They'll just like fucking do all that. Then when you get the girl over, I agree with what you said, Austin, which is you can just kind of, you welcome the girl, you crack a few jokes to show that you're not a weirdo, and then you let the girls chat, and they'll just go on and on. And all you have to do at that point is just progressively escalate, right? Because the girls typically, I know there's, Michael said it's different for him, but I think from my experience at least, the girls typically will not escalate. Like the girl you're with, they'll kind of pussy out. So you just have to escalate a little bit. And it's kind of like lighting a, I don't know, some gunpowder. It's like you just need to escalate initially, and then just the rest kind of takes care of itself.
But one thing I've noticed from my investigations into this, my observations and my studies, is that alcohol is almost always required. Like I've had girls where I train them to not drink anymore, and then they're just not drinking. But when it comes to threesomes, they're like, I'm going to need to drink. We need to get alcohol for this. So that's just another little tip.
The first time I actually had a threesome, I'll share an embarrassing fact. The first time I had a threesome, I actually couldn't get hard. So it was like we're all making out, and the girls have their titties out, sucking on the tits, and then both girls tried sucking my dick, and it was just like, meh. And then it just kind of ended in like an awkward thing where it's just like, anyway, what do you guys want to do now? So, yeah.
No,
dude, it's interesting you did the Tinder strategy with it. I've, at least from my studies, I found that Tinder was the hardest one to do. It was much easier to like just introduce 2 girls that bang together, kind of like what Marcus was talking about.
No, I didn't find it that difficult. We were able to, I'm thinking when I traveled to Santa Fe, I met the girl like on Monday, and by Tuesday or Wednesday we hook up. By Thursday we have the profile, and by Friday or Saturday we have the girl over.
Interesting. Maybe I'm just ugly. Okay.
Have you tried Field, Alex?
Yeah, Field I think is pretty good for stuff like that, but the most successes I had were from Tinder, honestly.
Nice. Awesome.
What's it called?
Dude, this was reminding me of David Bond. I wish he still had his videos up, because he had like the most insane harem like dating strategy ever. Instead of just doing Tinder, he did like Instagram and like had like just photos of him with like 10 girls, and just like he'd be like, I'm a polygamist, and like, dude, it was
he's an evil genius for sure. Like that dude just. Like it's pretty rare that I hear about stuff that I'm not familiar with, but with David, I heard quite a few things that I wasn't familiar with. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Marcus?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say Field. I think that's a good option for it as well. I think it works.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, in terms of drinking, girls tend to get pretty nervous. A lot of the nerves come from, I feel, this is probably the first time they could ever get rejected. Like every time they're around at a guy's house, they know, like, this guy wants to fuck me. I'm not ever worried about sexual rejection from a fucking guy. Are you kidding me? But now
I think it's also comparison. A lot of them, because they're comparing themselves to the other girl.
I think it's more fear of rejection, in my opinion.
A lot of them get insecure. So you have to always say, like, listen, this is why I say, like, I try to take it away from looks, because girls will look at the other girl and be like, but she's so hot. I will always say, like, no, she's going to love your personality. You guys are going to click. You guys are going to get along so well. I keep relating it to that. Like, trust me, you guys like the same, like blah, blah, whatever it is, because that helps to take away some of that pressure. And then I also walk them through. Listen, I've done this like 100 times. Don't worry. What's going to happen? We're going to walk in. We're both going to massage.
I thought you
her,
said your body count was 7.
I love the hand movement too. I've done this like 100 times.
Yeah, don't worry. Listen, you don't need to worry about a fucking thing. Okay?
I wrote a guide on this. Okay,
we've got this. It's chill. And so
like you're taking a flight. Like, yeah, dude, I've flown before. It's easy.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I got you.
Yeah,
it takes away the anxiety.
It's interesting what you said about like the threesome not being your best sexual experience. I'm trying to think back to like my threesome experience, which are less than a dozen. I think one of them was a really, really good experience, but most of them were like just above average. So yeah, I've never thought about that. But
you ever have a threesome, but you only fuck one of the girls and you just shame the other girl and tell her she's not good enough?
I did have one threesome. I did have one threesome where the girl was like, the other girl was so explicit. She's like, I'm down for everything, but
I've never done
you can't fuck me because whatever reason, because I'm saving my pussy for blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a threesome where one girl.
Yeah, that's what she was down with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a threesome where one girl was like just pure lesbian. So it was kind of like we just fucked the girl together. Yeah. It was fun. Yeah.
The funniest comment I ever heard during threesome, these two girls, one girl lost her virginity during the threesome. So one girl's riding me, then the other girl gets on and she turns to her friend and she goes, look, we're bonding.
You want to know the worst thing I've ever heard during a threesome? This girl's riding me at the time, and like her super hot friend is like right over here. And at the very end, she looks over to the right. I can't see because my head is like back in this pillow. And she goes, just guys, remember, subscribe, swipe up, $5.99. And I was like, what the fuck did you just do?
Were you guys videotaping or?
Yes, I didn't know, bro. I didn't know. Bro, it's a house in Mid Beach in Miami, and this was before they made the dude sign the fucking what's it called?
Wow.
They made this. You have to sign in order to be on.
How can that be legal, dude? They can't put you on video like that,
bro. I told her, I was like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Make sure you guys subscribe." She looked to. I swear to God, she's on top of me. I remember both of them were super fucking hot, and she looks to her right. This is in Miami, and she goes, "Guys, remember to subscribe." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I grabbed the pillow and I just pulled it over my head.
Hey, good marketing for you, I guess.
Huh?
It's
good marketing for you.
Used your
it was Jose Canseco's old house. I remember we rented that house. Oh my God, bro. And we had a photo shoot there, and then it just turned into that.
Dude, you should have grabbed the camera and be like, you can watch her or you can be me. And then like link.
menofaction.com.
Yeah. No, this is before there was no MOA back then.
This threesome is brought to you by PBS. Sponsored by local viewers like you.
Let's just address the super chat. We can wrap up pretty soon, I think, because we're going.
Yeah, we should wrap up pretty soon.
Let's just address this super chat. Michael, I'm seeing a girl that has BPT, but she's hypersexual. I love crazy. Yes, I'm aware of her splitting. Any advice moving forward?
Right now, before this is over, you're going to go on Audible and you're going to download a book called Walking on Eggshells, Surviving a Person with Borderline Personality Disorder. That's the first thing you're going to do. Number two, I need you to understand, I don't care how good the sex is, this isn't worth it. At some point, I just need you to understand, when we talk about the nuclear option, we talk, look at Marcus. We talk about the nuclear option.
I think it's worth it, but you say it.
Okay. Again, I'm not telling you it's not super fun.
Wait, do you really think that, Marcus, or are you trolling?
No, the problem is this.
If you got a fuck buddy and you're like, I don't know
they're
if
great.
in love with the girl, but
maybe a fuck buddy. I guess when
the
he said seeing,
this.
I just assumed dating. But
the problem with the
you should marry her and have kids.
The problem with the BPD thing is when we talk about the shitting on the bed, the Lindsay Hill lying about getting beat up by Trevor Bauer, these are the women we're discussing. What happens is their feelings get hurt or they feel some kind of way and they go directly to the nuclear option saying that you raped them. I have a friend of mine, she's a therapist. She comes on my show sometimes and she explained to me, goes, the number one problem with dating girls who are BPD is these are the ones with the false rape allegations. That's why I'm telling you, no matter what it seems like, it's probably not a good idea to do this, but you're right. They are the most hyper. Everything is open. Fuck me in the ass. Nobody clip that. All that kind of shit. They'll say whatever. They're down for whatever. They're always down to have threesomes. They're super fucking wild when they're in their happy phase, when they're doing their splitting towards the upwards. So for those of you guys who don't understand what splitting is, when you're dealing with someone with BPD, everyone is either a loathsome piece of shit. This is different from bipolar. This is not bipolar disorder. Okay. with BPD, everyone's a horrible piece of shit. I can't fucking believe these people did this to them. Fuck all these people. I hate all of them. And then 90 minutes later, she's like, oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, come over. Let's just all fuck and have fun. It's these splitting things where everyone is either holy and perfect or everyone's a worthless piece of shit. When you're dealing with a girl like this, I just want you to understand there's no way for her out of this unless she gets dialectical behavioral therapy and probably gets on a prescription of something like gabapentin or something like that. I'm telling you, it's not worth it, because the reason why is because these are the women who get you with the grape. Be careful with the BPD. That's what I'm telling you. And read Michael, that book. Please read that book.
What percentage of false grape allegations do you think come from BPD women?
Okay, so we're not including the ones who. So this is where a lot of false grape allegations come from. The girl came over, you had a threesome with her, and then she left, and her boyfriend found out about it, and she said, "Oh my God, they took advantage of me." And the boyfriend said, "Oh yeah, then go to the cops." And she's like, "I don't want to go to the cops." And he's like, "I'm going to break up with you unless you go to the cops." That's where some of them do come from. Okay, a few of them come from that, but the rest of them, I would say maybe 50% of the false ones, more than 50% come from specifically BPD. By the way, 40% of women with BPD are also narcissists. Okay, and 100% of psychopaths are also narcissists, not narcissistic personality disorder. I highly recommend you guys read Conquering the Sociopath Next Door and Walking on Eggshells, dealing with someone with borderline personality disorder. I highly recommend you guys learn about cluster B personality disorders. Understand the difference between a girl who cheated on you because she liked a guy with money and a bitch who is crazy. There is an actual discernible difference, and you should all learn about it. It's required reading in Men of Action, those books, because these guys will come back to me and clearly I don't have to say anything. The other guys in the call are like, yeah, that's BPD. Dude, you need to back away. Never stick your dick in crazy. These are also the women who are going to, a great example of BPD, the embodiment of BPD is Brittany Renner. If you guys want to know what BPD looks like, look at Brittany Renner when she goes on the Danza Project and she starts screaming and humping Charleston White. Remember, she's on with Andrew Tate and she's like, yeah, I've kind of screwed up my life. What can I do to get better? And then she's on with Charleston White, humping him and screaming. If you want to see what borderline personality disorder looks like, look at Brittany Renner. Hypersexuality, trapping men into having babies with them. Those kind of things are what you can look forward to with borderline personality disorder.
Well, at least she has a fat
highly recommend avoid. Huh?
At least she has a fan.
That's how she trapped PJ Washington. Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Really important. Those two books, guys. Please, I promise you'll love those two books. They're so informative. Very, very helpful.
I might even check those out myself. Let me just quickly address this question because I saw him comment. Hey, Alex or NDMP, how do I get a girl to send pictures of herself? She has sent some, but doesn't do it often. It's not really explicit. My answer would be why? Like, why? I personally, you guys can tell me if you're different. I personally have never, ever seen the point of getting nudes from a girl, unless, for example, I suspect. But even then, I don't need a nude. I need a bikini photo.
Dude, you know what's better than a nude?
A blowjob.
They never did anything for me. So I don't see the point, but assuming that meet up with her in real life and just like fucking fuck her and then take a photo of her afterwards with her consent. That's probably going to be better.
Maybe if you just want to accomplish that as like an achievement, you just start dirty talking, start like gradually teasing in concepts like that relate to love, sex, dating, then gradually escalate to like dirty talk, what you do to her in bed, blah, blah, blah. And then you just basically escalate to sending photos and having her send you photos. And yeah.
Also be careful.
Yeah, man, she's already done it before.
If you get a situation where the girl just wants to send you nudes but not meet up, it's probably a dude.
Okay, one other thing, guys. When you get the nude, if you can have her text it, you can take the nude, put it into your iChat or your phone. When you save it, swipe up, and it'll show you the metadata. The metadata is going to tell you the metadata will tell you can actually look at it on your MacBook as well. When you look at the metadata, you can see, oh, this photo was taken 3 years ago. Okay, this is a photo she sends to a lot of different
I didn't
guys.
know about this.
This was taken on an iPhone 14 or 13, so she took this a while ago. You can see that stuff very quickly. So I'd recommend you look at the metadata.
Mind blown.
Does that only work on iMessage? Like, is that working? That doesn't come across on Instagram or anything, right?
I don't know.
I can't.
Yeah, that's a good question.
They compress the image
too.
That's a good question. I bet they compress it. This is one of the things where I do like iChat for this. Dropbox would actually obviously be the best. And then the other thing is that PEM-I.
Send a nude. You're like, can you please Dropbox that to me? Actually, what's the
reason?
No reason.
The other thing is what Austen talked about 2 weeks ago. PEM-Eyes, PIMEYES. Do a PEM-Eyes search on that.
Did you try that? Did you search some girls?
I did. I found out for like one of my friends, he was seeing this girl and I put it in there and I was like, holy shit. I showed him, dude. I was like, she wasn't fucking on camera, but she definitely took some nudes for like some website or some shit. And so the PIM-eyes thing is big. And then I had somebody afterwards, Austin, it was really funny. He told me, whatever you do, Michael, do not tell girls about the PIM-eyes. Only tell guys. He's like, because you'll ruin it. Bro, that PIM-eyes thing is crazy because what it does is it does a scrape of just adult websites to try to find out whether or not your girl has been on there before. So that's another thing you could do. If you get that nude, you go on PIM-eyes, you do a scrape, and then you can see, okay, listen, guys, if you guys want to date a prostitute and you're not paying her, that's on you. I'm not going to sit here and judge you, but at least you should know she's a prostitute. You should know this woman is a prostitute. You have the right to know a woman is a prostitute. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck who that offends. It's true. You should know if this girl is a sex worker if you're going to date her. Or if
I
you're
think
going to have
most sex workers will agree with you on that, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. All right, guys, we've gone on 2 hours and 12 minutes, so I think we should probably wrap up. But this was a really fun discussion. We covered a lot of topics. We really went deep on the threesome stuff. I'm actually going to probably clip that and put that on the second channel because that was we went into a lot of detail. Actually,
hey,
it's rare. I'm just going to say it's really rare that I learn things when I do these dating discussions, but I actually learned a few things today, which is fascinating.
Alex, have any of you guys ever tried running ads on Meta with some of your photos on IG to run them specifically to women? Have you tried this before?
No, but I know someone who has.
So we're teaching that in our new course, our off-brand dating system course. It's something I've done before. I've done like $5 a day, $25 a day. I know a lot of guys have done it, but next week, if you wanted to go over that, I can go over step by step how to do that. That is a
sure. Talk to Austin about that. He has he's the one person I'm thinking of who has experience with this.
Austin, you've done that? Running ads to your Instagram for women.
Yeah, you actually might make enough money where it could be good for Vegas, but most running them in the US, the ad spend, you're gonna have to spend way too much for it to be worthwhile. But like, dude, if you go to like Nicaragua, $5, you get like 200 girls DMing you.
Yeah, in Poland, it's cheaper as well. Like in Europe.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Doesn't do this.
It's an interesting thing. We're actually, what I may do is I'll ask permission because my buddy Grant teaches the module in our new dating program. I'll see if I can just show the module if you guys want to see it. But he goes over step by step how to use Meta ads in order. He runs $5 a day only to women, and then he crushes in. He takes certain places and crushes them. You used to be able to do a city block. Do you remember this, Austin? You go on Meta ads, and I literally would run Meta ads for whatever nightclub I was going to that night. So every girl in there would literally see my image before I walked in, and the girl's like, I know you from somewhere. I don't know where this is, but it's a pretty cool little cheat code.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, let's definitely cover that next week.
Hey, I like David Bond. He definitely did not create that method, unless he did that method when
dude, people have been running ads for dating since they came out. Like since Google ads first came out.
Listen, I know him or whatever, but he did not start doing that before I did. So cool. Right. Next, you're going to tell me David Bond invented being friends with women.
He actually did. No, that's
he invented it. Okay,
yeah. No one was friends with women before that. Okay,
I remember back in the day, like
not fuck you.
There would be like these like occasional stories. People would be like, "Oh, this guy just ran an ad and met a girl from it." It was like 2000, I don't know, 10 or 11 or something. Like even before I got into game, I saw stuff like this. It's just like some hyper nerd that like ran ads, and he was just like, "I'm looking for a girlfriend," and obviously the ad was kind of low value.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would take a fucking sick ass photo of you and then change it up every week so that girls see you over and over again. Not even that they message you, but when you go to certain venues, the girls have seen your face before. You have social proof, pre-selection, and mere exposure before she even meets you in person. That's why
let's save it for next week because we're going to give away the plot. But yeah, cool. Anyone have any closing words? I thought this was a really fun.
Well, I will defend David Bond in one sense, which is he definitely invented the harem Instagram method.
Yeah. Austin, what's wrong? Are you taking a dump or something? What's going on with your camera right now?
Dude, I have to scan my camo thing. I don't know. I went to go check the metadata thing that you were talking about, and when you save it from an image in iMessage, I can't see the metadata from a girl that sent me a photo. Yeah, but you can see it in the photo that you take. You know what you can see when they airdrop it to you. When they airdrop it to you, it contains all the same
or the shared folder. The shared folder.
So
you get for sure. Ask for the airdrop. That's the secret.
All right, guys, but I think it's for a reason that they hide the metadata when they text it to you, because if someone that you barely know sends you an image and it had all the metadata, part of the metadata is the location, so they could find out where you are and come and like kill you or something. You know.
They used to have that. I don't know if you guys remember originally on MySpace, they had that problem where the metadata had that enclosed.
Guys, I'm going to end the stream and you guys can definitely talk.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.